home in Paris. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The head of the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, Andrea Johnson, has admitted to making errors in her unit's probe into crime intelligence senior officers. Head of the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, Andrea Johnson, has admitted to making errors in her unit's probe into crime intelligence senior officers at the SAPS. Johnson has been testifying at the Malanga Commission today over the factional battles between IDAC and crime intelligence. Last year, IDAC arrested the head of crime intelligence, Dumsane Khumalo, and several of his colleagues on charges of fraud and corruption. Thabiso Koba reports.
IDAC's probe into crime intelligence arose from a complaint laid by National Coloured Congress Member of Parliament, Fadil Adams. It's been established at the Malanga Commission today that IDAC solicited the complaints from Adams in order to begin its investigation. In his affidavit, Adams makes several allegations against senior crime intelligence officers. However, he offers no evidence. IDAC head Andrea Johnson was grilled on whether the complaints from Adams met the threshold required for IDAC to institute an investigation.
It is an error. It was an honest error. The test isn't subjective. The test is objective. Here I brought a subjective mind to bear on the information the person gave us.
Commission Chairperson Mbuyiseli Madlanga says it's concerning the head of IDAC has such a muddled view on the interpretation of legislation concerning the institution she runs. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The NPA says it's confident that its case against suspended police sergeant Fanny Nkosi is watertight and trial ready. Nkosi appeared in the Pretoria North Magistrates Court where prosecutors presented a centralisation certificate authorising the state to merge its two criminal cases. Nkosi was arrested in April after police allegedly found official case dockets, a stun grenade and ammunition at his home. Alfara Mushwana has more.
In addition to the police dockets allegedly found in his possession, Sergeant Fanny Nkosi is accused of unlawfully removing marijuana from the Twando police station under false pretenses. The state believes combining his criminal case into a single trial will strengthen its prosecution. Prosecutor Tolwana Sikonyana says the state has now completed its investigations and is ready to move to the next stage of this case.
The matter is ready for trial and may be transferred to the regional court. We have agreed on a date with the legal representative of the accused for the matter to be transferred to the 19th of August 2026 for first appearance in the regional court.
Nkosi remains behind bars while he awaits trial. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
A Free State judge facing possible removal from his job has failed in his bid to bar the media from broadcasting a first-of-its-kind judicial tribunal. The tribunal is investigating whether Judge Lepono Lekale is medically incapable of continuing to serve on the bench after being on sick leave since 2018 due to an eye condition. The inquiry, which is underway in Sandton, is the first in South Africa's history to determine whether a judge's medical condition constitutes judicial incapacity. Mongezi Koko reports.
The hearings got underway with tribunal chairperson, retired Supreme Court of Appeal Deputy President Xola Petse, dismissing Lekale's application to close the proceedings to the media, ruling that the public interest outweighed his concerns.
The ruling of the tribunal is that in terms of Section 29(2), these proceedings shall be open to the public and the media in the interest of transparency.
The complaint was lodged by Free State Judge President Cagney Musi after Lekale remained away from the bench for 8 years. Lekale has told the Judicial Conduct Committee that a traditional healer believes he will regain his sight and that the healer is expected to testify during the inquiry. If the tribunal finds that Lekale is judicially incapacitated, it will refer its findings to the Judicial Service Commission, which could recommend that Parliament begin the constitutional process to remove him from office. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
Parliament's Impeachment Committee says it needs more time to propose an evidence leader for the Section 89 inquiry that will probe misconduct claims against President Cyril Ramaphosa. Following nominations from political parties, only 4 advocates on the short list are available to start immediately. 2 of those nominated served as evidence leaders at the Zondo Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. On Friday, the Western Cape High Court is set to hand down judgment in Ramaphosa's application to interdict these impeachment proceedings. Lindsay Dentlinger takes a look.
Of a list of 9 nominations, 5 of them indicated their willingness to lead the evidence in the Phala matter against President Cyril Ramaphosa. However, one, Zinzile Matebese, can only take on the job in November. That left the committee to debate the nominations of advocates Kate Hofmeyer, Vuyani Ngilwana, Ismail Jamie and Pule Seleka. The ANC's Mika Mahlauli, however, objected to Ngilwana's inclusion.
We need to look at the perceived conflict of interest that is around his name.
The MK Party's John Hlophe cautioned against perceived biases against advocates because of who they've represented in the past.
We should be careful not to push it too far. We can say the same thing with respect about some of these names.
Political parties have now agreed not to exclude any of the candidates already shortlisted, but to extend the nominations window to Friday to widen the pool of potential candidates. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And in France, a prominent modelling scout with close ties to the late U.S. financier Jeffrey Epstein has been found dead at his home. Daniel Siat was one of the several French men accused of aiding Epstein to traffic and abuse women. Before his death, Siat had repeatedly denied the allegations against him. He was the subject of an investigation conducted by the office specializing in combating human trafficking. Siat's name appeared in more than 1,000 documents released as part of the declassified Epstein files. Gold is trading at $4,117.78 an ounce. The rand is at 16.47 to the dollar, 22.01 to the pound, 18.80 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $94.36 a barrel.
We still have slow-moving traffic in the four-ways area on Winnie Mandela Drive. This is between the N1 and Witkoppen. Look out for those faulty traffic lights. North Riding, Malibongo Drive, and President Fisher.
In your sport, Springboks 43-man squad for Argentina and All Blacks tests announced. CAF president confirms new record prize money for WAFCON winners. And Southampton boss charged over spying scandal.
It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 24 degrees. The top story in EWN, the head of the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, Andrea Johnson, has admitted to making errors in her unit's probe into crime intelligence officers at SAPS.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD.
7:02
Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
A very good afternoon, everyone. It's 10 minutes past 3 on Wednesday, the 22nd of July. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Welcome to the show. One of the most important political and governance battles going on in our country right now is the fight that seems to be tearing apart the Public Investment Corporation, the PIC. Why should I care, you may ask? Well, a good place to start in answering this question might be to ask, what is it that the PIC actually does? What would be the implications of its stumbling or even failing? Analyst Kaya Satole is coming in to help us with all of this after 4 o'clock. IDAC head Andrea Johnson is having another difficult day at the Madlanga Commission.
to act on that and contact Mr. Adams and
ask
him. So you solicited a Section 27 affidavit from a would-be complainant.
I don't agree with the solicited.
Ma'am?
I don't agree with solicited. We would have asked him because I'm going into the detail that's not mine and not in my head, and I don't want to sound
It's yours, Advocate Johnson. You are the one who gave an instruction to Chief Perlman to contact Mr. Adams. So Ms. Sillo's question relates to that. That has nothing to do. Mr. Perlman would then have been the actor on your instruction. That's where the question is. It has nothing to do with what Mr. Perlman then did down the line. So please do not deflect the question and refer to what Mr. Perlman would have done or not done. Can you please respond to the question?
Yeah, it really was a morning of that and much, much more. But same question as I asked in regard to the PIC in many ways. What exactly does the Independent Directorate Against Corruption do? And if the institution and its credibility is significantly undermined by what's happening at the Madlanga Commission, not just in the questioning of Advocate Andrea Johnson, but other issues have been raised as well, what would be the implications for the fight against corruption in the police? We'll get more on the actual Madlanga proceedings with Thabiso Gorba. That's coming up at 10 to 5. And then after 5 o'clock, a look at the questions I've just been asking. Maybe you've been watching and you have a view. Please do give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 WhatsApp, either voice note or a text message goes to 072 702 1702. New figures or new information has emerged from a survey done by the organization Debtbusters about the rising cost of living, the pressure of trying to make ends meet in the tough economy that is very much part of life in South Africa. But one of the interesting things they found is that some of the worst pressure is felt by South African women. Why is that? More on that with personal finance expert Maya Fisher-French. She's with us at 10 past 4. As always, some music for today. Now, do you know of a song that you really, really like that has in the title or perhaps somewhere in the song? I'd prefer it if it was in the title, I must say. An article of clothing. I think this is a particularly good one that fits the bill. Prince at his absolute best. So your song that has an article of clothing in the title, drop it off for us, please, on 072 702 1702. We'll start banking them up, and at around 20 to 6, we'll have a little feast, or shall I call it a shopping spree, I suppose, given that it's clothing and not food. On the markets, the gold price is the best news on the day, up by $55.51 so far on this Wednesday. That has pushed Pan-African Resources up by 4.3%. Harmony is up by 3.6%. Other metals, South 32 is continuing its good run, up by 3.9%. And Aspen, after a difficult day yesterday, has bounced back, up by 3.5%. On the downside, Italtile off by 8.5%. Fushini is down by 5.5%, and 91 has lost 4.8%. Overall, the all share is up by 390 points, largely due to the resources index, which has gained 2.7%. Ran pretty steady, really, trading at 16.47 against the dollar, 3 cents weaker than it was this time yesterday. Euro will cost you 18 Rand and 79 cents, 22 Rand and 2 cents will get you a pound. The oil price is up by $2.72. Brent crude is currently trading at $94.29 a barrel. We've already had bad news on inflation figures today, up from 4.5% to 5% for this particular reporting period. Those fuel prices, oil prices, are not going to do us any good in that regard at all. Stephen Critters joining us with all the market news at 25 4 and again an hour after that. We'll get sport with Tolakele Mganga. Karabo Chali is in with the traffic news and some interesting opinions on important things as well. And Mbali Dlamini is back with us at 3:30 with the latest news headlines. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. And if it's happening in 702 land, you'll hear it here first. If there's stuff we've missed, though, please do call us 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. It's 16 minutes past 4.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So, this story caught my eye. In South Korea, a chef at a Michelin-starred restaurant, it has 2 Michelin stars, in fact, which I understand is extremely good, is possibly going to go to jail for 1 year because of a dessert they served. Now, this is a restaurant in the upmarket district in Seoul. The district is called Gangnam, but people did not like his dessert style, even if in general Gangnam style remains popular. What he did was he served a sorbet and he topped it off with ants. Now, in South Korea, only 10 insect species are allowed to be put in food. These include grasshoppers, silkworm, pupae, and mealworms, but ants, no. They're anti-ants, and this guy's in serious trouble. He could go to jail for 5 years. And there is a law that says if you want to use an unapproved insect, I think, I don't know. Most insects here in food, I think, are unapproved. Certainly not approved by the people who have served them. Anyway, he could go to jail for 5 years or he could face a huge fine. Park all of that and let me ask you this. What food combination have you put together and served and offered to people or eaten in front of unsuspecting passers-by or family members that really you deserve to be sent to jail for? And what food combination has either someone tried to sell you or has tried to offer to you as a delicious dish that you also believe at the very least is deserving of a fine? So appalling food combos that you actually not only endorse but serve, and appalling food combos that you would be almost at the point of calling the cops to try and get them to deal with it. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. I mean, I would start with some really absurd things I've seen on pizzas. We can do the pineapple thing at any point if you like. That's never going to work for me. Jail time, I would say no, a suspended sentence. But Jonathan Fairbairn, any combinations that might actually involve the law?
Afternoon, John, and afternoon to the 702 family. The funny thing about that is maybe you see a food combo and you think, that deserves to be prosecuted, but maybe you taste it and then you change your mind.
Yes.
You think, well, that's actually quite nice. So, I mean, if I think about it, you either love Bovril or Marmite.
Yes.
Right?
Or you don't.
Or you don't.
Yes.
And a friend of mine had invited us over for a braai, and he had marinated the fillet in Bovril and butter. So he took the butter, he melted a little bit of the butter, and then mixed the butter with the Bovril.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't mind Bovril. I can eat it with like a nice butter on a nice freshly toasted piece of bread and some eggs. But I was like, with steak, I'm not too sure. And anyway, there were many people who were unhappy at the braai. They were like, no, I'm not having that. Won't even touch it because I don't like the taste of Bovril.
Yes.
And I tasted it and I loved it. And I've done it many times at my braais. Also got the same reaction. But then people actually end up liking it.
Scuffed in.
So I'm free
Next
from
time
jail.
you make it, we've got to try this. I'm not going to put one of my fillets on the line. When are you chefing this again?
Maybe, well, when it gets a bit warmer, I'm not a big fan of braaiing in the winter.
Karabo, you see, he's already hedging.
I'm not coming.
We're not invited. We want a scuffed in. I just want a thin slice.
I'll pass.
Taste it. Food combinations that either you were just. You got to be kidding me, I'm not having this.
Yep.
Or people look at you and say, Karabo, you cannot be serious.
My favorite was the sandwich I used to make when I came back from school.
Yeah.
It was a cheese syrup acha sandwich. and you'd mix it all together and put it in toast, and then you would have that chili taste, that cheesy taste mixed with that sweet taste. I tried it. I mean, I made it for my friend one day when he came over. He was like, I'm not having any of this. And the other one that I would never eat, mapani worms on anything.
I agree with you on that. I had it once and it tastes like bark.
And when I see people eat it with and they like enjoying it, I'm just like, hell no.
Even in a stew.
So the bite is even worse than the bark. There we go. Goodness. Okay, so food combinations that you think could involve some sort of legal action, and this all prompted by a chef in South Korea, obviously a highly regarded chef, 2 Michelin stars, who could face up to 5 years in jail for adding ants to a dish he served of sorbet. Give us your combinations that you will defend, even if you hear the sirens in the distance or stuff that do not put in front of you. Otherwise, you are going to call in the law. Your responses to that, please, on 072 702 1702. 22 minutes past 3.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
So, Karabo, how are we looking traffic-wise? It was very quiet this morning, eh?
Well, I must say, at this stage, it's already getting busy, John. If you're leaving the Alexandra Midrand area heading towards Germiston, avoid the N3 at all costs. There's an accident seen in Bedford View on the N3 southbound. This is near the Kilulis interchange, causing huge delays already from Modderfontein Road. So rather use the M1 southbound via Sandton as an alternative. 4 ways, also slow-moving traffic on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Broadacres. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in Marlborough Drive and Old Pretoria Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
The Burundian pastor stabbed his love interest more than 40 times. You got to understand what that means, man. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's just 10. Imagine that being the entry of a blade into the continuity of the epidermal lining of another human being. Apparently, the pastor was angry that the young woman's brother was sympathetic to March and March and the anti-illegal immigration movement.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
When you're walking the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk on Sunday, 26 July, keep your eyes open because Mazda is bringing wonder to the 8K route. There'll be 5 Mazda one-day experiences, including a piano performance, a world of color, a bubble field, a Japanese garden, and the Mazda Wonder Hub. Visit one of the 5, then capture and share your wonder moments on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Tag and follow at Mazda SA using hashtag Mazda SA, and you could win your share of 50,000 Rand. Mazda, where wonder awaits. T's and C's apply.
At the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, snap and share any one of 5 Mazda Wonder experiences using hashtag Mazda SA to stand a chance to win a share of 50,000 Rand.
Peregrine Capital presents Brian Habana's Count to 100.
In my journey to 100, it started with my first cap, then my second, 10th, 50th, 90th, 99th.
Brian Habana, his 100th international test.
You get to 100 one decision at a time. For 28 years, Peregrine Capital has applied that same discipline to turn 1 million Rand into 100 million. Peregrine Capital. Invest in performance. An authorized FSP. Past performance non-indicative of future performance. T's and C's apply.
Tired of seeing the same tiles everywhere you look? Charmed Decor is where you'll find something different. We curate high-quality imported tiles and mosaics that transform your space into something truly special. Design-led collections, easy online shopping, and samples delivered straight to you, so you can choose with confidence. Trusted by interior designers, architects, and home renovators. Discover tiles that inspire. Charmed Decor. Visit charmdecor.co.za and order your samples today.
You've taken your small business far. Nedbank and 702 can help you take it even further.
How important is it that a campaign like Nedbank Business Ignite recognizes not only entrepreneurs but people who solve problems.
It is important because being an entrepreneur can be a lonely journey. You go through a lot of challenges, and when you do have those victories, there's no one to recognize you. And this competition definitely does that, to recognize the good that the entrepreneurs have done, their achievements. And what we're doing differently this year, we actually decided to touch base with our past winners. We shot a vodcast, and people can go and actually watch those and actually catch up with our past winners to find out what they've done since winning the competition. I mean, my mind was blown in terms of what these guys have achieved.
See money differently. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, while the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry rolls forward, some people who actually were questioned in that self-same forum are already finding themselves in court. One of them is Sergeant Fani Nkosi. He is suspended but was with the SAPS Organised Crime Unit. He appeared in the Pretoria High Court today, but he is facing charges not just in Gauteng but in Limpopo province as well. To give us some clarity on what's going on, because like with suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi is facing more than one matter, Alpha Ramoshwana is in a position to tie it all together, which, Alpha, I believe, was the purpose of the court today. But before we look at what the court decided, just give us the background. What are the charges that Sergeant Nkosi is facing, and explain to us how they happen to be heard in two different jurisdictions.
Good afternoon, Ndate John. Sergeant Fani Nkosi is facing several charges, one of them in Pretoria, the other one in Thohoyandou in the Weme district in Limpopo. I'll start with the Pretoria one. You would remember that in April there was a raid at his Pretoria North home.
Right.
And the task team that is investigating cases that are being investigated at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry found a number of things that Fani Nkosi shouldn't have had at his home. I'm talking about ammunition. I'm talking about police dockets, official police dockets that ordinarily shouldn't be at a police sergeant's home, residential home.
Yes.
They found a stun grenade at his property as well. So they have charged him with fraud, theft, defeating the ends of justice, possession of ammunition, unlicensed firearm as well. And the second case has to do with the matter in Thohoyandou. It's alleged that sometime in 2022, he went to the police station in Thohoyandou and presented himself as a senior police official to take narcotics that were being kept in custody at that police station. So he misrepresented himself, to which they did give him the narcotics concerned. And it emerged 4 years later at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry that Fani Nkosi, number one, was not a senior police official at the time. He was a sergeant, which is nowhere near being a senior in the South African Police Service. And also the question is, why was he misrepresenting himself to get the narcotics? What did he want to do with the narcotics, and to whom did they belong? So those are the two main cases that Fani Nkosi has. So today in court, the prosecution presented a centralization certificate, which takes both cases in Pretoria and Thohoyandou, mashes them up or merges them into one case.
Right.
So now instead of two different cases is going to stand trial on one case, they're just going to merge everything up. Unlike Julius Mkhwanazi, who is in court for 3 different cases, and from our own sources is likely to get arrested soon for a 4th one, which is the murder and of Emmanuel Mbenze in 2022. So Mkhwanazi on the other side, 3 different cases, 3 different trials. Fani Nkosi, 2 different cases which have now become one.
Yeah, I guess the action taken with Sergeant Nkosi much simpler. It's a single individual, and the matters have a degree of being related, whereas from the bit I understand involving Julius Mkhwanazi, spread out across different kinds of issues. So it looks like he'll have lots of different court dates in lots of different courts. Thank you very much, Alpha Ramoshwana. Summing all of that up very, very neatly indeed. Sometimes this stuff gets a little difficult to follow. It shouldn't be now. 29 minutes past 3.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
Johannesburg is calling. Join thousands of Joburgers on Sunday, 26 July for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk in proud partnership with Standard Bank. Experience the energy and spirit of the City of Gold as you walk through the historic streets of Joburg CBD, celebrating a city on the rise. As an iconic brand deeply connected to Johannesburg, Standard Bank invites you to be part of a movement that's bringing communities together and showcasing the best of Josie. Starting and finishing at Ellis Park, this is more than a walk. It's a celebration of our city and its growth journey. The 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, proudly partnered by Standard Bank.
Mama Million here, and yes, I am a millionaire. The total number of lotto winners to date is 1,886,946. And the total prize money won is over 149 million rand. So what must you do with this information? Inspire yourself and play the lotto. It's still just 5 rand. Catch the live draws on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9 p.m. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
29 minutes to 4. Well, I mentioned that after 4, we're going to be looking at what the Public Investment Corporation does. And the reference I made was to the difficulties that institution currently faces. Bali, you've got an update on exactly that.
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. Well, the governance crisis at the Public Investment Corporation has deepened, with 4 more non-executive directors reportedly resigning. It comes ahead of a crucial meeting called by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana. The minister has reportedly scheduled a meeting for July 27th to consider dissolving the board of Africa's largest asset manager following weeks of turmoil. The latest resignations come just days after 2 other board members stepped down, bringing the total number of departures to 6 in just over a week. Anelita Fandese has more.
The PIC has been under intense scrutiny since Chief Executive Patrick Dlamini and Chief Investment Officer August van Heerden were suspended following allegations contained in a whistleblower report. The Finance Minister's proposed shareholders meeting follows weeks of turmoil at the state-owned asset manager, which oversees more than 3 trillion rand in assets on behalf of the Government Employees Pension Fund and other public sector clients. The 6 departures leave just 5 of the 11-member board standing. The resignations also come as the Financial Sector Conduct Authority has also launched an investigation into the organization's governance. The PIC is 100% state-owned, and Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana acts as the government's shareholder representative. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
The DA believes Helen Zille is the best possible candidate to deal with what it says is Johannesburg's mafia state tender system. DA campaign manager Asho Sarupen says there's no better person than Zille as the party prepares to launch its local government manifesto in the metro next month. Babalondenze has more.
The DA says it will hold its manifesto launch in Johannesburg because of its significance and recent failures under poor governance. DA campaign manager Asho Sarupen told a media briefing earlier that the party's local government election offering will be detailed in the manifesto, which is now ready for launch.
We will hold our manifesto launch in one of the most significant and symbolic places in South Africa. The failure of this particular local metro municipality has left it devastated and broken.
Sarupen says Helen Zille is the perfect candidate to take over as mayor and deal with the root problems in the metro.
What Johannesburg needs is someone who is going to deal with the fact that the mafia state has set into the supply chain networks and has the fortitude to go and deal with those tender networks and clean them out.
The party says if it doesn't rescue Joburg from tender mafias, they will never get it working again. Babalondense, Eyewitness News.
And Germany has approved the controversial French-Russian nuclear project. The project involves producing fuel rods for use in Russian designated nuclear reactors. But critics have not backed this move, saying they fear this will enable spying and sabotage by Moscow. The ministry has stressed that although it has green-lit that move, the approval could be revisited if new risks are identified. It's a fine afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 24 degrees.
Bedfordview accident scene N3 southbound near the Giluli's interchange, slowing down traffic all the way from Modderfontein Road, while in 4 ways we still have slow-moving traffic. Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Broadacres.
The top story in EWN, the governance crisis at the Public Investment Corporation has deepened, with 4 more non-executive directors reportedly resigning.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. I want to take you back to 2018. I interviewed Dr. Randall Carolison. Then, as now, there were severe and systematic delays in funding disbursements. We are now on the 3rd successor since he was at the helm of NSFAS. Little has changed.
I think some of the underlying issues exist. We have an opportunity in the parliamentary legislative review process. The NSFAS Act is up for review. There will be a public participation process. So you can try and fund as many students as you want to fund. But if the students that you are funding are not being empowered to succeed academically, and if they are not being given the information that they require upfront in order to make responsible choices for their own developmental needs, then the entire system is broken.
Deputy Higher Education Minister Yusuf Kassim.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
This Sunday, Joburg will come together for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. But before you walk with the people, for the people, you'll need to collect your walk number from the Ellis Park Arena at 29 Bertrams Road, New Doornfontein. Collections take place every day from tomorrow until Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please bring your ID document, driver's license or passport, and a copy of your confirmation to make your registration as seamless as possible. Please note, no collections are permitted on race day. The 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, Babize Bonke, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. More on primemediaplus.com.
Because behind every blood donation is a future still unfolding. A child's first day at school, a first job, a dream business, a first drive. For 25 years, blood donors have made these moments possible. In just 30 minutes, give someone another tomorrow. Be the lifeline. Give blood. Give it tomorrow. The South African National Blood Service.
You know when your people are giving their best, not because they're pushed or pressured, but because they feel supported. And support is making sure they're covered. So if something happens, they can get the care they need. FlexiCare Health Insurance makes it simple for every business to protect their people with affordable health cover. You care. We cover. For a tailored FlexiCare quote, speak to your financial advisor today. FlexiCare is not a medical scheme and the cover is not the same. FlexiCare is underwritten by Auto & General, a licensed non-life insurer and FSP, and administered by Discovery Health, an authorized FSP.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints. Affordable, lasting luxury.
Hydration is more than water. It's about choice, enjoyment, and flavor. That's why Aquele offers something for everyone. Crisp, still, natural spring water, lively, sparkling, fruity flavors, and sports drinks to boost performance. And don't miss the exciting new Mzansi mango flavor, now here to stay. Plus, look out for the bold berry blue mascot along the route. Snap a pic, tab Aquele, and you could win a year's supply of refreshment. Walk refreshed. Walk Jozi with Aquele.
702. WhatsApp John.
On 072
702
1702.
Afternoon, John and the team. I think the person that should be in jail as well is one who thought putting a carrot in a cake is a wonderful combination. So I think that South Korean chef must be acquitted. The first person who should have been arrested is putting carrot in a cake. It's a no-no.
Afternoon, John and team. Yeah, this one is actually a no-brainer. Pineapple on a pizza. It definitely deserves a very, very stiff jail sentence. But banana on a pizza, that deserves a death penalty. This is Marco from Heidelberg.
Good afternoon, John. When I was in high school in the 80s,
For lunch, we used to have a quarter. The current quarter is in quarter of a loaf of a bread. Then we'd gouge it out and fill it up with potato chips, as in Simba chips. And there would also be some butter, and preferably the brand name of the butter was Erica, which was smeared inside this bread with the potato chips and then closed, and that's what we had for lunch. Whoever came up with that idea needs to go to jail, Kabelan, Pretoria.
Yeah, thank you. If you wondered why we're talking about food combinations, I referred to a chef in Korea, a chef with 2 Michelin stars, by the way, who is potentially facing jail time, and if not that, a seriously heavy fine for putting ants on sorbet ice cream. So I'm just asking, what are the food combinations that should be prosecuted for, and what are the food combinations that you actually put together, enjoy and offer to other people that might get you in trouble with the law? So keep those coming, please, on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. Busa says, my mom loves eating raisins with knickknacks together. I find it really weird, but she loves it. I think a small fine there, maybe, or a warning. Knickknacks and raisins. I mean, it's not miles away from nuts and raisins. So, yeah, I think that your mom, at worst, needs to get a warning or probably to be left in peace. 18 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Right, Tola Kele, very good afternoon to you. The Springboks now focused on a 4-match series against New Zealand. They've got a game against Argentina, and we have the squad, at least for now.
Absolutely, John. And Rassie Erasmus has named a 43-player Springbok squad for their test series against the All Blacks and a warm-up international against Argentina in what he terms as a strategic approach to selection. Captain Siya Kolisi and Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu are among the 10 seasoned Boks who return from injury, while 6 players drop out, including Ambrose Papier and Evan Roos. Ruben van Heerden is on standby as he prepares to move to French club Montpellier, while the squad will assemble in Johannesburg on Sunday and train for a week before they travel to Argentina. Switching to football, where CAF President Patrice Motsepe has confirmed that the winners of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations will receive a record $2 million in prize money. Motsepe says the increase reflects the body's commitment to raising the profile of women's football and rewarding excellence across the continent. The delayed 2026 edition is being hosted in Morocco and gets underway on Sunday and will run until the 16th of August.
We've increased the prize money for the winner by 100%. We've increased the overall. So the winner gets 2 million, but we've also increased by 495%. When the current leadership, got into football, the total money that was spent for the women's football on the continent was 975,000. Now it's close to 6 million, and there's still a lot more that we have to do.
Southampton manager Tonda Eckhart has been charged by the English Football Association over the spying scandal that led to his side being kicked out of the Championship playoffs. In May, the Saints admitted to spying on a training session held by their playoff semi-final opponents, as well as fellow Championship clubs Ipswich and Oxford earlier in the season. And after beating Borough in the semis, they were expelled from the playoff final against Hull and then deducted 4 points for the 2026-27 season. Eckhart issued an apology after, as promotion to the Premier League is worth an estimated $267 million.
I hold my hand up because as a head coach, I am responsible. I am responsible for everything that has happened in this football club. I am responsible for everything that has happened in my coaching staff. I do apologize to the supporters, to everyone who has traveled with us, who has supported us over so many games, to the ones who have shared emotions game by game, who have managed to bring us all the way up to this very end of the season.
And Bayanda Walaza ran a time of 9.89 seconds over 100 meters at an athletics meet in Slovakia to record the 4th fastest time in South African history. The 20-year-old is one of 12 South African men to have broken the 10-second mark, with only Akani Simbini, Benjamin Richardson and his training partner Gift Liotlela ahead of him on the all-time list. Walaza's personal best in Slovakia also broke the previous meet record for this race. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Coming up now for 3:45, let's get the very latest news from out on the roads. Karabo Charlie, what kind of day are we looking at so far?
Well, already busy, John. If you are driving towards Germiston, there's an accident scene in Bedfordview on the N3 South near the Kilulis interchange, causing heavy delays from Modderfontein Road. Four ways, traffic a bit sluggish. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Broad Acres. If you're leaving Sandton, already bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on Greyston Drive between Rivonia Road and the M1. Sunning Hill, this is leaving Rivonia. We still have those roadworks causing delays. This is approaching Witkoppen and Rivonia Road. And look out for those faulty traffic lights in North Riding at Malibongo Drive and President Fushia. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So we've been asking you about the combinations of foods that one of them has landed a Korean chef in the courts, may get a stiff fine or possibly even jail time for putting ants on sorbet. Mactosh says, I don't get the ants on ice cream. Presumably referring to the row on the court matter. He says it's not a new thing. So I actually Googled the thing about ants on ice cream, and there are some that are actually, so some of it is accidental pests, is the way it's described. But then they say in high-end restaurants like in Copenhagen, in Alchemist and Michelin-rated establishments in South Korea, famously used ants. Nope, not in South Korea. AI, because that exactly has caused problems. And then there was apparently a dropped ice cream cone in an episode of Better Call Saul, which involved ants, unsurprisingly, swarming all over the ice cream before it melted. Tolakele, food combinations that either you might have to keep on the down low because you could find yourself in court because you put them together, or that other people have put together and offered to you either in a restaurant or at a friend's home or at a family member's dinner table where you think, well, maybe I'll call the cops myself.
John, this might get me cancelled by a lot of the 702 landers, but condensed milk and cream cheese coming together should not be acceptable. And the people that enjoy cheesecake, you guys must also go to jail. I'm sorry.
So, cream cheese and just together in a bowl.
Even with the King D tennis biscuits, that they also that whole combination, it should not be. It's not right, and it doesn't matter whether it's a fridge cheesecake or a baked one. Together, it's not right. Those things are not part of the same family and should never be at a meeting together.
Okay, here we go. I've just found a recipe for vanilla ice cream with black ants. Now, I don't know if these are real ants or what we call sprinkle spread. When I was a kid, there was a company that made sprinkle spread called Bensdorf. And the advert went, Bensdorf sprinkle spread. I'm sure I'm not doing it justice. So I don't know when they refer to black ants. No, this says pest control. Okay. Anyway, I don't know if sprinkle spread, as I know it, is still called that. 702 Drive, give us a call on 011 883 0702. We're going to be talking a little bit later about the Public Investment Corporation. Kai Satole, analyst, joining us to talk about that. And we'll talk about various issues as well surrounding the Independent Directorate Against Corruption that is headed by Andrea Johnson, who is still facing something of a torrid time at the Madlanga Commission. More on that a little bit later with our EWN colleague, Tabiso Goba, who's keeping a close eye on that. 10 minutes now to 4 o'clock.
John Perlman
on 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Well, the inflation news today is not good. 4.5%. The last time we got numbers is how much inflation had gone up. It's now up to 5% in this particular reporting period. And as if we were not expecting a rate hike anyway, people are saying this pretty much seals the deal. So that's going to be the next blow that people face. And then, of course, there are all the problems still going on in and around Iran and its conflict with the United States in particular. and that's pushed the oil price back well up into the 90s. I think it was about 2.5 weeks ago that we were able to say, 70 is in sight, and we are back to kind of pre-war days in terms of the oil price. Well, as you know, that didn't last, and those shocks, I think, will be felt later on. So financial stress is there. I do not need to tell you about it. And to some degree, the size and shape of it has been captured by the debt counseling firm Debtbusters. They put out a regular money stress tracker. This most recent one came out on Tuesday, and you can check that out on their website. But one of the things that they highlighted is who feels the most money stress. And something that in particular caught my eye, there are a few other elements as well that we might touch on, is the fact that women experience more money stress than men. So I wondered what that was all about. And we would love to hear from you, men and women. Please do give us a call. And once you've heard what my next guest has to say, perhaps you want to weigh in with some thoughts of your own. Maya Fisher-French is an award-winning financial journalist and the editor of Maya on Money. Maya, welcome and thanks very much for your time. Women feeling the stress of tough financial times in South Africa more so than men. Does that chime with your own experience, the conversations you have? And if it does, tell us why.
Absolutely. No, women are definitely suffer a lot more financial stress than men. And that, I think there's many factors for this. And we've seen these numbers come through every year across a range of different research and surveys done. So this is a consistent message. This is not something that's new. And one of the big questions I always go back to whoever's put together this research is how many of them are single mothers?
Yes.
And that's a big factor. And I wish that the data would dig in more to that, rather than just saying, are you a mom? And if you're a mom, are you raising your child alone? We know that about 50% of mothers are raising their children without a father involved or providing financial assistance. And that is going to have a massive impact on women. And of course, the other simple fact is that women earn less than men.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily for the same job, but they take jobs and roles in society that are less paid. So, you put those two together and, it's not surprising.
One of the other groups they identify as middle-income earners are facing the greatest pressure. I guess I would have thought low-income earners would be under even more pressure, but you're an expert on personal finance in particular and the way in which people make choices. Is there something about the kind of money problems that you get as you move upwards or think you're moving upwards, and then something like the recessionary times we're in come and knock you down, but at a time when perhaps you've already made commitments?
I think what we've seen, and we've seen this again for the last about 3 years, we've seen the pressure building on higher income earners, your middle income class. And one of the reasons has been credit extension. So the kind of credit taps were cut off for lower income earners. I mean, there are banks who will not lend to people who earn less than a certain amount of money.
Right.
So you haven't had quite the same access to credit. And we saw that, before that we saw this huge rise in credit uptake in lower income earners, and that put them under huge pressure. A lot of defaults were happening and everyone stopped lending to them. Now, if you're a bank or a credit provider, you've got to go for somebody who's got a salary and a reasonable salary. So that's really where it's been targeted, the credit extension. So I think that is a big function of it. People and also just took on a lot of credit because it was available to them. But also this is the market or the middle class are the ones who are seeing those big inflationary jumps around things like medical care, school fees, and they are often in South Africa supporting unemployed family members. So it is absolutely, I always keep saying, we really need to understand what the middle class is going through. And remember, this is a middle class that does not get any government support. They don't get grants. They don't get anything. And yet they are also the ones who've suffered higher taxes, and we didn't see those tax brackets adjusted for inflation. So yes, absolutely not surprised to see this happening.
Maya, one of the biggest things coming through from what Debtbusters has been delving into is that what's really hammering people is administered prices. And in fact, I happened to watch an interview, I think I was watching either Sky or CNN, saying that in the UK, that's a very similar problem, that electricity prices, for example, but let's bring it back home. Those are the things that are really hitting people the hardest. That must make it quite difficult for either people like yourself who give people valued advice or debt busters who try and offer counseling. I mean, there's some stuff, yes, you can, make sure you switch off your geyser, but these other prices, you don't have a huge amount of agency on.
Not at all. And I think, the rising cost of electricity has really been hurting households. I think it was an economist, John Lewis, who did some maths on it. I think since 2008, electricity prices are up something like 660%. So, you've just got to think about what that's doing to your household consumption and what's available. So absolutely the rising cost of electricity and, of course, the very sharp fuel price hike that we're seeing now is also obviously hurting people. So, yes, and there's not much. It is a difficult one because you're saying to people, well, I was speaking to someone yesterday saying, I feel like I've been writing tighten your belt every year since about 2016. And it has
Run
been
out of
getting
notches,
tougher and tougher. Run out of notches, absolutely.
Maya, people really value your take on these things, and I wonder if you could give us your thoughts on this. The measuring of stress is a crucial part of the survey that's been done, and I know that if I'm stressed, I really struggle to make cool-headed decisions because invariably stress is impacting on other people. That tightening of the belt often involves limiting opportunities and creating tension within households, however they're made up. What's your advice for people who can't see beyond the anxiety that they're currently feeling? I mean, what's the first step to feeling, I'm not completely out of control here?
I really do, and I see this, and I'm being really serious about this, is that it is actually opening up the bank statement and looking at it. And I know people are going to say it's going to make me even more stressed. It's the fact that you don't know what's going on that is actually the biggest stress factor. And what I find that people, and I think you're so right, we kind of just shut down. We know that, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to make it to the end of the month, so let me grab some credit. Let me use the credit card. Let me take revolving loan. Let me take some form of credit to get to the end. Instead of actually sitting down and saying, okay, how do I get to the end of the month without accessing credit?
Right.
Are there things that I can cut back? Where is the wastage happening? And I promise you the transformation in people within just 1 month when they start to say, where is my money going? And they're amazed. They're thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that this debit order was coming off my account, for example. I don't need that. I'm going to cancel some of my subscriptions. Those sorts of behaviors make you feel like you're back in control. So that's my biggest advice. If you're sitting feeling like your head is spinning, take a deep breath and actually pull out a highlighter, a bank statement, and just try and understand where your money's going.
Yeah, it sounds like a great place to start. Thank you, Maya Fisher-French, award-winning financial journalist, editor of Maya on Money. And by the way, if you've been, either in debt counseling or doing your own debt counseling, i.e. sitting down and not necessarily doing exactly what Maya suggested, but something similar, and you've come up with some ideas, please do share them because people are taking a lot of strain. The strain is partly financial, but it's also emotional and psychological. And I would imagine relationships don't always flourish under these conditions. So if we can pull together some good ideas and share them, that would be a decent place to start. 072 702 1702.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What else have been contributing factors one way or another?
I think we could look on the other side and actually look at food inflation, which was down to 1.6%, historically low levels of inflation for food. In particular, we see cereal products, which is your maize, bread, etc., at negative 1.5%. And meat inflation, which is also a large contributor to the overall inflation picture, went to 5.1%, which is still above average food, but has dropped significantly from 13.5% that we had in January this year.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
In the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk happens this Sunday. We want to make your day as seamless as possible with a park and shuttle service. The color of your wristband contained in your walk number pack corresponds with your designated collection point and grants you access onto the shuttle. Monte Casino is red. Greenstone Shopping Centre is, unsurprisingly, green. Clearwater Mall is blue and Gold Reef City Casino is white. Please ensure that you are at your designated pickup point at least 30 minutes before your intended departure time. Shuttle buses will depart from all park and shuttle pickup points every 30 minutes, starting from 5:30 a.m. See you at the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk. I can't wait. Babize Bonke, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. More on primemediaplus.com.
Smart business moves save money. Switch to Outsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's Stephen from the Villa Rosa.
I was with my previous insurer for 8 years and then I switched to Outsurance Business Insurance. I'm very happy with the premiums and switching was the best decision we ever made.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
Head to Dis-Chem for your best winter buys. Look out for the yellow label to enjoy bulk savings on Better Rewards brands. Swipe your Better Rewards card to get 3 Nivea 50ml antiperspirant roll-ons for 70 Rand 20. Save 31 Rand. Plus double up on your savings when you buy 2 Vaseline 400ml body lotions. Now only 94 Rand 50. Save 65 Rand. Valid until 9 August at Dis-Chem. Better health starts here.
Find your next design obsession at Decorex Joburg. From the 30th of July to the 2nd of August, the Sandton Convention Centre becomes the destination for the latest in decor and design. Explore over 450 exhibitors across 5 levels, inspiring talks and live demos, plus the property show by Private Property. Download the Decorex app and plan your visit today. Decorex Joburg, 30th July to 2nd August. Tickets at decorex.co.za and at the door.
This is EWN.
Another National Lotteries grant found to be unlawful, and Madlanga Commission wraps up its work early for today. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The National Lotteries Commission is again embroiled in controversy after the Special Tribunal found the awarding of a 4 million rand grant to a non-profit organisation was unlawful. The Mshandugani Foundation was awarded the grant in 2019 for a project aimed at providing clean water to communities in the Eastern Cape. But investigations by the Special Investigating Unit have found that the funding was for a project that had already been done years prior. SIU spokesperson Selby Mahoto says the foundation has been ordered to pay back the money.
The order follows an SIU investigation which uncovered serious irregularities in the award and use of the grant, revealing that the funding application was based on a project that had already been completed several years earlier and that the grants fund were diverted to entities linked to the foundation's leadership.
The Madlanga Commission has wrapped up its proceedings early today following a request by the head of the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, Andrea Johnson. Johnson told the Commission she was not feeling well and was granted an early release from the witness stand. Johnson has been testifying at the Commission regarding allegations her unit was improperly used to go after senior crime intelligence officers. Last week, the Commission had to postpone her testimony after she fell sick at the last minute. The Commission's evidence leader, Matlape Sillo.
She's, as Chair is aware, currently on medication following her illness last week. And I'm made to understand that the medication she's on is having some debilitating effect on her. So she has requested an early stand down today at 3 o'clock.
The state in the case against a UK national accused of murdering his wife and 2 young daughters is still awaiting a ballistics report on a firearm he allegedly intended to use to take his own life. Lotana Chuma appeared in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court today on charges of possessing the unlicensed firearm, which prosecutors say he bought in Alexandra after fleeing from the United Kingdom to South Africa. British authorities are also yet to submit their full extradition request to have Chuma returned to the UK to face 3 counts of murder. The 45-year-old was arrested in Kensington earlier this month during a joint operation involving the SAPS as well as Interpol. Kosikwana Malingamnisi reports.
Ndodana Chuma, accused of wiping out his entire immediate family, appeared in court today in connection with both the local firearm case and extradition proceedings. The prosecution told the court it is still awaiting the ballistic report on the firearm allegedly bought by Chuma in Alexandra, while while some statements on the firearm investigation also remain outstanding. The defense confirmed it has received the arrest warrant issued by UK authorities, but asked the court to ensure it is provided with the preliminary extradition documents already submitted. Prosecutor Lorraine Khadidzi responded.
I was not aware that there was a request for further documentation. Same will be transmitted by email before the next appearance date.
The Department of Justice is also processing the extradition request, with Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubai having to sign off on the request. Both matters have been postponed to the 27th of August. Kosi Konamaling Amnisi Eyewitness News.
Political parties represented on the Parliamentary Impeachment Committee have argued over whether President Cyril Ramaphosa should be compelled to give oral evidence to the Section 89 inquiry. While the MK party is of the view the inquiry should start with his testimony, the ANC wants the committee to first consider the reports of other institutions. Debating the terms of reference for the inquiry at a meeting today, the Patriotic Alliance came to Ramaphosa's defense, saying he could not be compelled to appear. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The MK party's John Hlophe says President Cyril Ramaphosa should be setting the stage for his impeachment inquiry by giving testimony first. Failing to deliver evidence, Hlophe said, would invoke the rule of law to draw adverse inferences from the omissions.
The information is peculiarly within the knowledge of the president, so he doesn't have a choice with respect.
The Patriotic Alliance's Marlon Daniels, however, thought otherwise.
The president cannot be compelled to testify. His participation is a right to be heard, not a duty to give evidence.
The EFF's Sompile Martwe said the committee was wasting time debating a matter that had already been transversed in court related to the impeachment inquiry of former Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane that testimony could not be given by proxy. Parties have agreed to lobby each other on the points of dispute within the draft terms of reference before a meeting next week. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Venezuela's ousted President Nicolas Maduro is expected to appear before a New York court this afternoon. Today's public hearing marks a third since U.S. forces captured him and his wife in Venezuela in January. The couple has been held in a Brooklyn jail since then, awaiting trial on drug trafficking, firearms and other charges. Maduro has declared himself a prisoner of war and pleaded not guilty to the 4 counts he faces. Venezuela is now led by former Vice President Delcy Rodriguez. Gold is trading at $4,117.78 an ounce. The rand is at 16.47 to the dollar, 22.01 to the pound, 18.80 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $94.36 a barrel.
Bumper-to-bumper traffic in Centurion on the N1 southbound of between Old Joburg Road and Samran. This is due to an earlier accident. Bedford View also accident scene on the N3 southbound near the Gilulis interchange, slowing down traffic.
In your sport, Springboks 43-man squad for Argentina and All Blacks tests announced. CAF president confirms new record prize money for WAFCON winners. And Southampton boss charged over spying scandal.
A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 8 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 9 and 23, and Vereeniging 4 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN. The National Lotteries Commission is again embroiled in controversy after the Special Tribunal found the awarding of a R4 million grant to a non-profit organisation was unlawful.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Bamise bonke.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, good to have you with us on the show. It's 9 minutes past 4, middle of the week. Hope you've had a decent Wednesday and that you've got good things to look forward to for the remainder of the week. Coming up on the show, we're going to be talking about the Public Investment Corporation. It's very much in the news. It would seem there is something of a showdown between the Minister of Finance and one of the deputy ministers of finance who actually chairs the PIC board. This is not good. But some of you may be asking, what is the Public Investment Corporation all about anyway? Well, we're going to spend some time looking into that. So in other words, just fill in some of the blanks, color in some of the pictures so you've got a better idea. And then secondly, we're going to talk about the implications of the PIC being embroiled in this kind of infighting. It is a critical institution, and I suspect if you're involved or you work for government, you know that your pension money and the Public Investment Corporation's fortunes are very much tied up. Kai Sitole, who's the director of Karuska Consulting and an expert on this, that interface between economics and money, large amounts of it, and politics, is going to be my guest. And I'm quite certain after he's done, we'll have a much clearer idea of why we needed to know about all of this stuff in the first place. Similarly, with the Independent Directorate Against Corruption in the spotlight today at the Madlanga Commission, with the head of that all-important institution in the criminal justice system, Andrea Johnson, going through somewhat of a torrid time in the face of questioning from the evidence leader and the three commissioners. We'll talk about IDAC, as it's popularly known, why it matters, and what's coming out in the commission may well be undermining both its credibility and its effectiveness. We'll talk about that sometime after 5 o'clock. Music for you at 20 to 6, and some rather unusual food combinations just to prevent you from getting peckish throughout the show. I asked you about food combinations that you think, should involve the police being called, or perhaps you've got your own and you are having to keep them quiet because you realize that the law could become involved with you as well. On a serious note, a less serious note though, a more plausible note, if you do eat some interesting combinations of things, or you've been offered stuff that's plain weird or actually quite offensive, drop us a note and tell us what they are. Leland looks back on when he was younger and says, when I was younger, I used to eat this combo: peanut butter and mango pickle on toast. Karabo Charlie, if you wanted to get a look at the face he pulled, because I'm sure he's going to pull more faces as we talk about more combinations, do follow us on YouTube. Just type in John Perlman 702 Drive Live, and you can pick us up on YouTube. But Karabo, your face on mango pickle, I mean, how's that different to your one with the syrup and pickles and chili, and what was the third one?
Cheese and syrup.
Yeah, and you judging mango pickle and peanut butter.
Peanut butter? No, not a chance.
Okay, so it's the peanut butter that's really spoiling it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, weird food combinations. Let's have a few more before we get into the traffic.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Oh, Dr. John, if we are arresting people, please arrest my friend. And varsity, she made me eat, what is it? Snails in creamy cheese and garlic sauce. Till this day, this was, I'm sure, 13 years ago. I still cannot forgive her for that. So if you're arresting people, please let me know so I can send her address. They must start with her.
Good afternoon, John. I think whomever came up with the Kentucky Fried Chicken soup also deserves some kind of jail time.
Hi, John. My mom loves eating raisins with knickknacks together. I find it really weird, but she loves it a lot. I feel like she should be taken away for that one. Iman from Foways.
Hello, Dr. John. Try avocado. You make it on a salsa like porridge. Put sugar. Open a soft roll. Fill it in. Just try one bite. You tell me. Thank you. MC here. Bye.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know if that's so strange. I know quite a few people who actually put a little bit of sugar in avo. I certainly don't. Now, this thing of KFC soup, they don't sell it at KFC. But yeah, again, going online, some people seem to do that if you've got any leftovers. But yeah, Kentucky Fried Chicken soup is a thing, but it's not a thing I think that KFC is a purveyor of themselves, if I've got that wrong. and you're involved with any kind of KFC franchise and you've got soup on offer, please call in and tell us why. What your address is, so we, in the interest of that, listener can actually send the authorities round just to have a little look. 15 minutes past 4, time to go out on the roads.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Charlie, we've got problems in Centuria. What's happening? Where is it happening?
Yeah, that's heading towards Midrand. Bumper-to-bumper traffic in Centurion. N1 southbound between Old Joburg Road and Samrand due to an earlier accident. We still have that accident seen in Bedford View, N3 South, near the Gilulis interchange, slowing down traffic all the way to Marlborough Drive. There's also slow-moving traffic. This is in 4 ways on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Broadacres. Sandton, expect some delays on Greyston Drive between Rivonia Road and the M1, and in Sunning Hill, roadwork still causing about a 20-minute delay. This is approaching the intersection of Witkoppen and Rivonia Road. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
35 minutes listening to your favorite podcast goes by quickly, but 35 minutes stuck in traffic crawls by painfully. Thankfully, the Outsurance pointsmen are here to save the day. These heroes in green and purple have been easing traffic congestion for the past 20 years. The Outsurance pointsmen helping everyone get where they need to be quickly and safely. Just another way you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
I want to take you back to 2018. I interviewed Dr. Randall Carolison. Then, as now, there were severe and systematic delays in funding disbursements. We are now on the third successor since he was at the helm of NSFAS. Little has changed.
I think some of the underlying issues exist. We have an opportunity in the parliamentary legislative review process. The NSFAS Act is up for review. There will be a public participation process. So you can try and fund as many students as you want to fund. But if the students that you are funding are not being empowered to succeed academically, and if they are not being given the information that they require up front in order to make responsible choices for their own developmental needs, then the entire system is broken.
Deputy Higher Education Minister Yusuf Kasim.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
As Joburg takes a big step towards a cleaner future, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment is joining you on this journey because a cleaner city is everyone's responsibility. So whether at home or in public spaces, always use designated bins, separate recyclable materials and never litter or dump illegally. And together, everybody can build cleaner, healthier and greener communities. Act now. Reduce waste and recycle. This message was brought to you by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials.
It's the flavor!
Real reviews by real people. Nico from Kailami is in touch with his emotions. So when we asked about the Nando's peri-peri half chicken and a single side for only $1.25, he said,
I'm sad. I finished it.
Ah, Nikos, ungawari. Because this chicken season has more episodes. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
Mama Million here, and yes, I am a millionaire. The total number of lotto winners to date is 1,886,946. And the total prize money won is over 149 million rand. So what must you do with this information? Inspire yourself and play the lotto. It's still just 5 rand. Catch the live draws on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9 p.m. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
Take control of your equipment, your billing, and your revenue with PumaTech. Built for all sized businesses in rental, construction, scaffolding, plant hire, and mining. PumaTech gives you real-time, on-site visibility of everything. your equipment, your materials across sites, yards, and branches. Simplify stock control, reduce losses, and manage your billing. All in one powerful, locally built platform. PumaTech. Know where everything is.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. Right, let's focus our attention now on the Public Investment Corporation. Very much in the news for all the wrong reasons. Turbulence in the board. We understand 4 non-executive directors have resigned. And it also seems to pit against each other the Minister of Finance and the Deputy Minister of Finance, David Masondo. So what is going on? And crucially, why should people who may not be entirely sure what the PIC is and what it does actually be concerned about these developments? My sense is it's a vital institution. It has more money to invest than any other entity in the country, and we ought to be keeping a close eye on it, particularly if they are using your pension money. Public servants, listen up. Kai Sitole is director at Karuska Consulting and joins us now on 702 Drive. Kai, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time. First of all, a brief pen picture, if you can, of what the PIC does and why we should be concerned about any kind of upheaval in the institution. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. So the PIC essentially exists to manage the pensions that belong primarily to the Government Employees Pension Fund, which is obviously essentially the majority of the civil servants out there. So what a pension fund does is that it collects pension contributions from its members on a continuous basis. And the big idea is that it ought to invest those contributions and ensure that at retirement age, the pensioners are better off. In other words, you then get an asset manager whose mandate is to really get the money to grow at a particular rate. So what the GEPF then does is that it will pass on the funds to the Public Investment Corporation. It is the Public Investment Corporation that then goes out there and looks for asset managers and also itself does some investment with the ultimate objective of ensuring that the funds grow rather than the funds get decimated. So that's really what it exists for.
The PIC has been in the spotlight before. We had the Mpati Commission under the chair of Judge Lex Mpati. There were recommendations. Questions have been asked as to whether those recommendations ended up in a file somewhere or whether changes were made. I mean, what should have been done according to the Mpati Commission and what has been done?
Well, firstly, we have to remember what triggered the Party Commission to be put together in the first place. And it was really on the basis that the governance of the PIC kept lurching from one crisis to the other. Some investments left a lot to be desired, and some investments quite simply never made sense. So the idea behind the commission was to get a really comprehensive understanding of how the institution is structured, how the institution is governed, and how particular decisions are made. That commission then said, having looked at what the structure is, having interrogated some of the processes and some of the decisions that have been made, these are the recommendations that we are making. The key recommendations related to a splitting of the role. Previously, the chief executive officer was the chief investment officer, which was a centralization of power. So the key recommendation was that that role must be split in relation to the executive structure. In relation to the non-executive structure, which is where the board of directors sit, the recommendation was that it shouldn't be that this institution is burdened with the obligation to make its chairperson a politician, and that politician traditionally comes from National Treasury. So the Mpati Commission said there was no need for such a structure. Unfortunately, the ANC government completely ignored that part of the recommendation, so it has persisted with the model that says that the shareholder will be National Treasury, represented by the Finance Minister. Nothing wrong with that. The primary client will be the GEPF. Again, nothing wrong with that. It was, of course, the GPF that said we needed an asset manager.
Yes.
But the board chairperson is the deputy minister of finance, and that is what the Mpati Commission had a reservation about. And of course, unfortunately, we're here now where questions have to be asked about the deputy finance minister as the chairperson of the PIC, whether he has managed the board in the way that he should have. And when you have 6 of your 11 directors resigning, clearly the answer is that something has gone wrong.
So, how dangerous is this a moment? Because, I mean, people have got their eyes, I would think, and understandably so, their eyes on whether they're going to have water and electricity and whether they're going to have a job that actually pays them enough to live. But presumably, if the PIC goes through another period of turbulence, the implications are considerable, I would have thought, not least because of the lost opportunity to invest money to actually do some good.
Well, there's the immediate issue relating to the fact that when you don't have a chief executive officer or a chief investment officer, the primary business of the PIC, which, as I said earlier on, is to take money and invest it wisely and make sure that it grows. Well, those decisions are done ultimately by the chief investment officer. So when you have that structure being paralyzed, it means that those decisions are either going to be delayed or they're going to be deferred. So on an ongoing basis, there is a sense of paralysis. It's difficult to track it, of course, because some deals may indeed be subject to delegations that mean they can still be executed even if you do not have the entire executive structure. So that's something that only the insiders of the PIC would know. But in the longer run, there is obviously the risk that if the PIC is managed so badly and it ends up not being able to fulfill its mandate of growing its funds, then the question will be, do we run a risk of the PIC's assets under management being less than the obligations that the GEPF has towards its pensioners? If that is the case, unfortunately, you and I then have to come into the picture.
Yes.
Because uniquely, the government employees pension fund is actually a guaranteed pension. In other words, if there is a shortfall in the funds that are due to the pensioners versus the assets that are available, you and I as the taxpayers are responsible for that shortfall. So there is a long-run risk, but it's not a risk that's going to materialize anytime soon. The GEPF remains highly solvent as far as we know based on their latest actuarial updates.
Thank you so much, Kaya Satole. As I promised, excellent insights from the director of Karuska Consulting. So I wonder if you are a public servant, do keep an eye on what's going on at the PIC. And Kaya made it very clear that there's no imminent threat to the government employees pension fund, but should a threat of any kind materialize, whether you've worked for government or not, we are all going to be responsible for making sure that fund is solvent. Very solvent, he says, at the moment. But hey, it's always good to look down the road and see what's ahead. Hope that helped. 27 minutes past 4.
What's so exciting for me about this year's event is that we're going back to a place I know so well. I just haven't been there for so long. I'm so excited about going to that precinct around the CBD, the life, the people, the history that is there. All of that is what makes me so excited about this year's Walk the Talk. You should take part in this year's Walk the Talk because it's a coming together of the 702 family of a community. If you like that feeling of being part of something, of watching your children being a part of something bigger than you, that's what the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk is all about. This year I'm going to walk the full 15 Ks. I want to see as much of the inner city of Joburg as I can. I want to walk it in a way I've never walked it before, and that's important for me. To enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com. It's very simple. We'll see you there. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. We're going to have a great time.
On Sunday, 26 July, celebrate the iconic rhythm that makes Joburg more than just a city at the finish line of the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke, because this epic walk through the inner city all comes together with some of Josie's favorite artists such as Papawa M, Lebza De Villen, Thi Butle, Nomfundo Mo, Sam Deep, Citizen Deep, and Manana. So after you've taken the scenic route, join us at the finish line for an afternoon of fun and relaxation. The 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg.
You're up before everyone else. You're building something real. Absa Business Banking, powered by Visa, gives you everything you need to get going. Open a business account in 10 minutes. Buy a point-of-sale device for $7.99 and get a credit card all in one place. We get it. Running a business is hard. Your banking shouldn't be. Search Business Starter Pack. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Do you ever get that wake up, dress up, show up kind of energy? Well, it's final voter registration weekend. On the 1st and 2nd of August from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., registration stations open across South Africa. So show up and register to vote in the upcoming local government elections. Call 0800 11 8000, visit elections.org.za or WhatsApp 0600 8800 00 for more info. This message is brought to you by the IEC.
EWN Business.
Nice strong gold price today, but let's get all the details and find out about the impact of that in the face of a rising oil price. Stephen Curtis is your man.
John, yes, good afternoon. Gold up 2%, platinum up 2% as well. But unfortunately, the real big story, I suppose, is Stats SA confirming the 50% jump in diesel and the 30% jump in petrol prices, pushing inflation to 5% from June last year to June this year. Was expected, obviously, higher than expectations, though. We were expecting about 4.7%. Also, just before tomorrow's big Reserve Bank decision, expected to see a 25 basis points rate hike. Food price inflation still relatively contained at just 1.6%. White rice prices have dropped 13%. Meat price inflation dropping dramatically. Coffee, of course, is the inflation rate there has gone down too. And that's kind of containing inflation. Won't last forever. And John, you might like to think things can only get better. But bear in mind, 1st of July, electricity and water prices went up because of the municipal financial year. And so, no, I don't think things are going to get better, I'm afraid. And oil is now heading closer towards sort of $93, $94, $95 a barrel than we've seen for some time. Despite all of that, the JSE showing a resilience, up 0.6%, 109,635 points. Financials down 0.35, industrials down 0.87, but resources really pushing things up. They're up 4% on the day. So Harmony, it's really the gold miners. Harmony, Anglo Gold, Goldfields, Sibanye, all of them up very strongly. Harmony's up nearly 6%, Anglo Gold, Sibanye, Goldfields all up way over 5%. South 32 continuing having a really strong week. They're up nearly 5%, and the platinum miners up 2%. Voltaire and Implats both up by around 4%. Italtile, though, down 6.5%. In fact, many of the consumer shares and financial shares, John, the Foschini Group down 4.5%, Pick and Pay, Mr. Price, Trueworths, all of them down very strongly. Trueworths down nearly 4%, Mr. Price, Pick and Pay both down by around 4.5%, and then financial firms like 91, they're down 3.33%. Naspers also down around 3.5%. News from Pepkor today, the clothing and cell phone retailer, announcing it's merging its flash payment business with Shop to Shop. So it's paying nearly 1.6 billion rand to hold just over 57% of the new fintech company. Shop to Shop is a service that provides smaller firms and traders. It helps them manage cash payment systems. They reckon the combined entity will see around 200 billion rand going through it every year. This is a company that's also starting a bank this year, and so we really are going to see something really quite big. We'll talk more about that on the Money Show this evening. In the US, so the last couple of days have seen lots of excitement over AI stocks. Now everyone's pulling it back a little bit, waiting for some of the results to come through. The Dow Jones is up 0.45%, but the Nasdaq is down 0.22%, and the S&P 500 is up 0.08%. The gold price, $4,154.06. Platinum, $1,662.70. Brent crude, $93.79. The rand to the dollar holding its own, actually. 16.42 to the euro, 18.75 to the British pound, 21.99. Call it 22. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Right, let's just catch up with some important news just in. Mbali Dlamini with a breaking story and the rest of the news. Good afternoon.
Ramaphosa has cleared Johannesburg prosecution's boss, Andrew Chauke, of all the allegations levelled against him by former NPA head Shamila Batoyi. This follows the establishment of an inquiry into his fitness to hold office. The inquiry was prompted by allegations made by Batoyi that Chauke made politically motivated prosecutorial decisions. In a letter, Ramaphosa says, based on the report of the panel led by retired Justice Besson Kabinde, there is no basis to conclude that Chauke is not fit to hold office. The Judicial Tribunal investigating whether a Free State judge is fit to remain in his office has heard that he has been on sick leave for more than 8 years now. Lepono Lekale is the first judge in the country's history to face a judicial incapacity inquiry. It will determine whether his eye condition has left him unable to perform his duties. In a complaint lodged by Free State Judge President Cagney Musi, the tribunal was told that Lekale was appointed to the bench permanently in 2012, but only served for about 2 years before going on extended sick leave in June of 2018. If the tribunal finds that Lekale cannot do his job due to illness, its findings will be referred to the Judicial Service Commission, which could recommend that Parliament begin the constitutional process to remove him from office.
On sick leave since the 6th of June 2018.
That is correct.
Meaning that he is still on sick leave.
As we speak, he's still on sick leave, yes.
3 men have been killed in a shootout with police in Gqeberha. Officers attached to the National Intervention Unit were searching for an alleged murder suspect in the Nyamazana informal settlement in Nkwandesi today. After failing to locate the suspect, police later received information that he had returned home and they went back to the scene. Police say as officers approached the house, they came under attack. Police spokesperson Sibogazi Mawisa says no officers were injured in that incident.
Police recovered 2 unlicensed firearms and ammunition. These firearms will be taken for ballistic tests to check if they were not involved in any other crimes. The Independent Police Investigative Directorate attended the scene and will investigate the case.
And in France, the country has recorded more than 5,700 excess deaths in the June heatwave. Last month, France experienced a record-breaking heatwave, which lasted around 11 days and saw temperatures climb above 40 degrees Celsius in many places. AFP is reporting that the extra deaths between June 17th and the 2nd of this month were all due to causes not yet clearly linked to the heat. The average temperatures on June the 24th and 25th were the highest ever recorded in the country. A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, lows of between 4 and 9 degrees and highs of between 20 and 23.
Centurion bumper-to-bumper traffic on the N1 southbound from Old Joburg Road all the way to Samaran due to an earlier accident. Bedford View, we're also dealing with that accident scene. N3 southbound near the Gululis interchange, slowing down traffic all the way from the Patlu interchange. And in Sunning Hill, roadwork still causing about a 20-minute delay approaching the intersection of Witkoppen and Rivonia Road.
And it's the breaking news, the story. President Cyril Ramaphosa has cleared Johannesburg prosecution's boss, Andrew Chauke, of all the allegations leveled against him by former NPA head, Shamila Batoyi.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
So when we are referring to digital wallets, we're referring to something like a PayPal?
Yes, something like that. Somewhere where you can store digital value, kind of pre-fund it, and then use it whatever you want.
Why this is a positive thing, having digital wallets?
Sure, the Bank of International Settlements did a study where they said that for every 1% of your population that goes onto a digital wallet or becomes digitally active, the GDP raises by 0.1%. And so it's a really positive thing to have digital wallets. And, you know, if you look at all the big banks are kind of winning the top of the market, but banks largely serve people who already bank.
Paul Winburn, product manager at Eccentric Payment Systems.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
Smart business decisions save money. Switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. And with help at Out, you get 24/7 access to panic assistance, roadside assistance, and even office assistance, just with a tap on the app. For plumbing, electrical, tradesmen services, and all other businesses. Why wait? Get a quote now to switch and save. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
It's back. It's better and it's bigger than ever. Food Lovers Market is bringing you our famous Winter Carnival with all the season's biggest deals. So come shop amazing value on everything your household needs. From fresh fruit and veg to our butcher's best cuts and all your favorite groceries. Valid from Thursday, 23 July to Sunday, 2 August. Only at Food Lovers Market.
Uncertainty is rising, but your business still has to deliver. Production targets need to be met. And when your workforce is out of balance, the cost is immediate. Too many employees? Costs climb. Too few? Productivity drops. Workforce staffing helps businesses stay in control with flexible workforce solutions, deployed within 48 hours nationwide. When demand changes, your workforce can change with it. Visit workforcestaffing.co.za. Stay productive, stay flexible, stay in control.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, Uncle John. This is Mimi from Silverton. Okay. So for me, it's people who put raisins in a coleslaw. I mean, it will never make sense to me. Why are we putting raisins in a coleslaw? I mean, it doesn't taste okay. It doesn't taste right. And people who do it definitely should be arrested.
Hi, John. Afternoon. I hope you're well. Great show as always. Tabam from Binoni. Look, I introduced my kids to this. I think I'm calling it a comfort food. Your pap with fried eggs. And then I'll chop a tomato and onion making salsa. But in it, I'll somar hoy acha and mayonnaise and then mix. Then yeah, you should see how they clean the plates and how we clean the plates. And yeah, the small one, young one love also tomato sauce. I almost said tomato sauce. Tomato sauce on the side. So yeah, but looking at the mess when you're looking at the plate itself, yeah, police needs to be called. Thanks a lot for great show.
The cops are going to be busy. Hey, the food police, the weird food police. What are we going to call them? Keep those coming, please, on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. We had someone earlier talking about their family like pancakes with tuna and either syrup or strawberry jam. Here we go. Madeleine, my family loves pancakes with tuna and syrup or strawberry jam. Okay. No, I won't be fighting to get any of that off your plate. 19 minutes now to 5. Let's find out what's happening in the world of sport.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kele Mganga is back with us with an update on the very latest. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And Football Federation President Giovanni Malago has confirmed that they've held talks with Pep Guardiola about becoming Italy's new head coach. Guardiola left Manchester City at the end of last season after 10 successful years in England, while the Azzurri have been without a head coach since Gennaro Gattuso resigned in April. That follows the country's failure to qualify for a third World Cup in a row. Malago says exceptions can be made for Guardiola's salary, while Roberto Mancini and Andrea Pirlo are being considered for the role. In the Premier League, pre-season is in full swing as clubs gear up for the 2026-27 campaign. Liverpool are in the United States and will play games against Sunderland, Wrexham and Leeds United as new manager Andoni Iraola tries to implement his philosophy. He's also addressed speculation linking Alexis McAllister with a move to Spain. That follows impressive performances for Argentina at the FIFA World Cup.
Alexis has been one of the best players of the club last years. He has done a very good World Cup. And it's normal that other clubs want our best players, our good players. It always happens in all the markets, no. But I want to also, as other clubs want, I want to keep my good players.
Manchester United take on Rosenborg on Friday in their second game of pre-season and are looking to bounce back from the defeat to Wrexham. And with the team looking ahead to their league opener against Hull City next month, Michael Carrick has discussed the makeup of his current squad.
They'll start coming back the week after. The squad will get stronger and stronger as we go to closer to the season, which we knew. But we've got a good group here, and looking forward to the games coming up really and keep making a difference and keep improving and keep pushing towards the start of the season. We'll keep taking steps, build it up next week. Good training week. A little bit of a short week next week with a game on the Friday, but we'll build it up and look forward to the game.
Wolves were reportedly forced to abandon Monday's training session after striker Tolo Arakodare ignored instructions to leave the field after being informed he wouldn't be training with the first-team squad. The incident also resulted in extra security being drafted into the club's Quantum Park training ground amid concerns that he'd attempt to rejoin senior training. Arakodare has been informed by new coach Cesar Pexeto that he will not be part of the first team this season. And World Rugby, along with England and Wales's governing body, are looking to throw out nearly 380 former players' lawsuits over neurological injuries as they argue that their lawyers repeatedly failed to disclose key medical evidence. The trio are facing lawsuits from around 800 ex-amateur and professional players who say repeated concussive and subconcussive blows left them with serious neurological conditions. The claimants' lawyers allege that the governing bodies breached their duty of care by failing to protect them from those risks, but World Rugby argues it had no such duty and that injuries are inherent risk in rugby. Tolakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Right, at 16 minutes to 5, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Centurion's still a problem. Here's Karabo Chali. He is your guide after all.
Yeah, Centurion heading towards Midrand. You can now expect more than a 30-minute delay. N1 South from Old Joburg Road all the way to Samrand due to an earlier accident. In the opposite direction, Midrand heading towards Centurion, also bumper-to-bumper traffic. N1 northbound between the Patlu interchange and Samrand, while in four ways we still have slow-moving traffic. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Broad Acres. Sandton expects some delays on Greyston Drive between Rivonia Road and the M1 in Sunning Hill. Roadworks are causing about a 20-minute delay approaching the intersection of Witkoppen and Rivonia Road. While in the Joburg CBD, traveling towards Boysons, traffic sluggish M1 South from Killarney Bends to the Crown Interchange. For the latest traffic updates, you can also follow us on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Clever excuses for being late, number 94.
I ran out of petrol and had to push my car to the petrol station.
Fortunately, with the Outsurance pointsman on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer in FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Still to come on 702 Drive, the Independent Directorate Against Corruption. Very much in the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. We'll get an update on today's hearing from Thabiso Goba, who was out in Pretoria covering this for EWN and, of course, for our show. And afterwards, a little bit of analysis. What does IDAC actually do? And if it is undermined or weakened by the interrogation or the investigation that it's currently facing, what are the implications for the fight against corruption in the police? Peter Dutoy, Assistant Editor of Investigations at News 24, joins us on 702 Drive for that. That's coming up a little later in the show.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
But here's a question prompted, I suppose, by all the kind of pre-Premier League sport that Tolakele was talking about. Premier League begins, I think, on, about the 20th of August, Friday night, something like that. And we're in a little bit of a sports lull, aren't we? Because Wimbledon is over. The World Cup, 104 games. Who'd have thought that could ever come to an end? But it did, and it has. We're going to have to wait till the 30th of August for more tennis. That's the US Open. Well, more Grand Slam tennis, should I said. We're going to have to wait a while for Springbok Rugby. They're not in action until the 8th of August. The Betway Premiership, mercifully, gets underway on the 1st of August, so you can get some of your football fix that way. But what are you... No?
John, there's WAFCON. Let's give WAFCON.
When is that starting?
It starts on Sunday.
Okay,
Banyana
great.
play on Monday. I was kind of making fun of the IT guy at the office because the months leading up to the World Cup, he was constantly telling me stuff about Bafana. Then I said, so what's happening with Banyana? And he had no idea that WAFCON was on. So the same energy that we give the men,
Yes,
please
indeed.
let us give it to Banyana.
I consider myself properly and correctly put in my place for saying that. But we are in something, I think it's fair to say, of a little bit of a sports lull. How are you filling yours? Tolakele, you're going to fill it with WAFCON? What else?
A lot of it is just hanging out with my friends because they haven't seen me for like the last 6
Yes,
weeks.
yes.
So everybody has like booked an appointment and like, okay, you have to sleep over at my house on this day and then we have to go out on this day because they also know that once football season starts, I'm going to disappear again.
Yeah. Okay. So time to catch up with friends. Time to have a break from the remote. Time to, if you are an anxious football watcher, to get out from behind the couch. How about you, Karabo Chali? I mean, looking forward to a new premiership season as
Definitely.
defending champs.
Yeah. Sheesh, what am I gonna do? I'll try and start reading again. I haven't been reading my books in a while. I'll just pick up a novel and maybe just read some more. And also movie nights with my son and family.
Yes.
Spend more time with them because usually I'll be watching soccer by myself.
How are you filling the sports lull, if indeed you believe there is one currently underway? Give us a call on that on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. We're coming up now for 11 minutes to 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Well, we'll have Stephen Curtis a little bit later. Good news on the gold price, very bad news on the oil price, which is now over the $95 a barrel mark. It's the first time that it's hit that mark in 6 weeks. And this is, of course, related to the conflict in Iran, around which the US President Donald Trump posted this on Truth Social. And I'll read the quote. The US president said, "From this point forward, anytime the Islamic Republic of Iran shoots at a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, whether it be by missile, rocket, drone, or any other device or weapon, the United States will bomb and destroy one bridge or power plant, including those located next to or in the capital city of Tehran." So we'll keep an eye on that story. That came out roughly about 2 hours ago. So any updates on that, we'll share with you as soon as we get information that moves that story forward. Coming up now for 9 minutes to 5.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Okay, let's focus our attention now on the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. It's been something, I think, of a very difficult day for the head of the Independent Directorate Against Corruption, Advocate Andrea Johnson. In fact, so much so that the commission closed up shop a little bit early today because she said she was feeling unwell. Certainly, the questions that were put to her were very focused, somewhat relentless in that focus. And in fact, if you look at some of the quotes of some of the things said by commissioners, Commissioner Sisi Beloy, referring to one of the steps that were taken by IDAC, referred to it as a misuse of powers. So let's get a little more detail on that beyond the kind of headline comments and find out what the focus was. Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter, once again covering Madlanga for us. Tabiso, the focus seemed to be very much on steps that were taken in regard to engagements, for example, with the MP from the National, the NCC, Fadil Adams. There was considerable focus as well on the prosecution that is underway of General Dumisani Khumalo, head of crime intelligence. What for you were the key things that the commission honed in on today?
Good afternoon, John. It seems that we're obviously getting to that point at the Madlanga Commission where a witness is now being engaged very robustly and with cross-examination. And one of the things that has been a major focus today is regarding that prosecution case that you talked about that IDEC is currently pursuing against the head of crime intelligence, Mr. Dumisani Khumalo, but also several other senior crime intelligence officers. And you remember that this was a case that Ntlatlamo Khwanazi, the KZN police commissioner, said that this is a baseless case and that IDAC is pursuing a baseless case against crime intelligence for political and other nefarious reasons. So one of the things that we found out today, John, is that It's already been established that this case arose from an affidavit or a complaint that was laid at IDEC by the National Coloured Congress MP, Mr. Fadil Adams. But what emerged today is that it was actually IDEC that approached him or solicited that complaint from him. So it wasn't necessarily from Mr. Adams' own volition. It was IDEC who said, come and make a complaint and then we'll investigate. Now, that obviously, again, raises a number of questions in terms of should IDEC be soliciting complaints from members of the public when it should be the other way around? So that was one thing. Another thing, John, is that with IDEC is a specialized unit. It doesn't just investigate any and whichever case. It focuses more on these complex, high-profile financial crimes. So that means there's a very high legal threshold that any case that IDEC investigates has to meet. And one of the things that she was asked, Ms. Andrea Johnson, is that based on the complaints that Mr. Fadil Adams made to IDEC, there wasn't any factual grounds in terms of to substantiate some of the allegations that he made. And that means that IDEC didn't necessarily have a lot to authorize an investigation on. And that's something that Andrea Johnson, she said that there was an error. She admitted and conceded to the Madlanga Commission, saying that how she interpreted the law, which is Section 727 of the NPA Act, which governs the kinds of cases that IDEC has to investigate. She says how she interpreted it was very wrong. And this is something that Madlanga, the commission chairperson, Mwiseli Madlanga, took a lot of exception to, saying that you are the head of IDEC, you are a senior prosecutor with over 3 decades of experience. It can't be that you have such a, quote, muddled view on how to interpret very basic legislation. So that was just one of the things that had come out, John, today on a very, very difficult day for the head of IDEC, Mrs. Andrea Johnson.
Tabiso, I heard a section where both Advocate Mahlape Silo and Justice Mbuyisile Madlanga were suggesting to Andrea Johnson, and I thought this was of crucial importance for the conversation we're going to be having after 5 with Peter du Toit, suggesting that if she misunderstood the difference between a subjective test of an allegation and an objective test, and if she had indeed applied that misunderstanding to all of IDAC's work, it raised questions about the way she'd run the entire institution over, I think, the 4 years since she's been in charge. I mean, that seemed to me to put her in an awkward position, if indeed I've recalled that conversation accurately.
Yes, and you have to make a reasonable assumption here, John. Was Mrs. Andrea Johnson deliberately misinterpreting something that is basic, or did she really not understand until now? As I said, John, this is someone with more than 3 decades of legal experience as a senior prosecutor. She's someone who's very well versed in the law. Even the commission chairperson, Mwiseli Madlanga, saying that the test of subjective versus objective is something that even a first-year law student could easily decipher. So he doesn't understand why Mrs. Andrea Johnson couldn't. And it goes back to what I explained, John, that IDEC is a specialized unit. It doesn't investigate any case. So any case that it has to investigate, it has to meet a certain threshold.
Yes.
So in terms of Mr. Fadil Adams, when he made that complaint or he made the affidavits, he had to outline that these are his suspicions, because he said he's suspecting that the crime intelligence officers who are siphoning money from the crime intelligence coffers. Then he has to make a bit of objective grounds in terms of where does this suspicion come from? Does he have bank records? Does he have any kind of evidence? And that is something that Mr. Adams didn't have. So then that raised the question from the commissioners, saying that based on this affidavit from Mr. Adams, which makes these number of allegations without any factual and objective basis, what then authorizes you as head of IDEC to then institute an investigation based on very little grounds. And that's when Ms. Andrea Johnson saying that, well, she interpreted the IDEX law or the legislation very wrongly, and she then admitted to the commission that she made an error both in judgment but also in legislation.
Thank you so much. Tabiso Gorba, EWN reporter watching the Madlanga Commission. If you were keeping an eye on things and formed your own conclusions, do share them with us on 072 702 1702. The other thing, by the way, that we're looking to get from you on that very same number, your favorite song that has an item of clothing in the title. We're collecting some good ones. We'll play them at about 20 to 6.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Former Deputy Prosecutions Boss Anton du Plessis says the onslaught faced by IDEC is part of the teething problems a new institution will inevitably go through. He says the recent appointment of an IDEC oversight judge is one such mechanism that will help strengthen the anti-corruption busting agency.
Barely 2 years into its establishment, and its head, Andrea Johnson, is being accused of misconduct and facing the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry to answer to these allegations. While du Plessis is loath to comment on the specifics, he's still giving the IDEC the benefit of the doubt.
I still believe IDEC is a very important step in the right direction.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Step into Josi's energy with Aquele, the official hydration partner of the 702 Josi My Josi Walk the Talk. For the third year running, Aquele keeps every participant refreshed and energized with still, sparkling, flavored and sports drinks. This year, Mzansi Mango joins the family, chosen by the joyful people of Mzansi. So, lace up, walk along, and let Aquele keep you moving, smiling and celebrating every step of the way.
Mama Million here, and yes, I am a millionaire. The total number of lotto winners to date is 1,886,946. And the total prize money won is over 149 million rand. So what must you do with this information? Inspire yourself and play the lotto. It's still just 5 rand. Catch the live draws on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9 p.m. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
Since its establishment in 1990, thousands of successful leaders in the legal profession have walked through the doors of the Law Society of South Africa's School for Legal Practice. Not only do we promote professional training, but our lead schools across the country provide training in over 25 learning programs. For the best practical vocational training course for future leaders, come to LEAD. Visit our website on lssalead.org.za. LEAD, your #1 school for legal education.
Many of us take taking a deep breath for granted. But for some infants with RSV, every breath is a battle. Respiratory syncytial virus is a contagious virus that can lead to serious illnesses, including lung infections. Fortunately, protection for infants against RSV is now available in South Africa. Ask your healthcare provider about keeping your baby protected during their first RSV season.
This Sunday, the 702 Josi My Josi Walk the Talk participants, that means you, I hope, can make use of the convenient park and shuttle service. The color of your wristband contained in your walk number pack corresponds with your designated collection point and grants you access for both the outbound and return shuttle services. Monte Casino is red, Greenstone Shopping Centre is green. Who'd have thought? Clearwater Mall is blue and Gold Reef City Casino is white. So please ensure that you are at your designated pickup point at least 30 minutes before your intended departure time. Shuttle buses will depart from all park and shuttle pickup points every 30 minutes, starting at 5:30 a.m. Return shuttle buses to all park and shuttle parking venues will depart from Ellis Park every 30 minutes, commencing at 10 a.m. The last shuttle bus will depart Ellis Park at 4 p.m. Please ensure that your wristband is securely fastened to your wrist before boarding the shuttle and keep it on, please, for the duration of the event. Alternatively, if you are traveling to the event using the Gautrain, please proceed to the Gautrain station you selected during the entry process. Ensure that your walk number is clearly visible, as this will serve as your access pass to board the Gautrain. Then travel to Park Station, where you'll transfer to the Prasa train for the short journey to Ellis Park. All of this, by the way, excludes the OR Tumble station. So pick another station, please. See you at the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk. Babize Bonke, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. More on primemediaplus.com.
This is EWN.
Advocate Andrew Chauke cleared of all wrongdoing, and another National Lotteries grant found to be unlawful. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. It's still the big news this afternoon. President Cyril Ramaphosa has cleared Johannesburg prosecution's boss, Andrew Chauke, of all the allegations levelled against him by former NPA head Shamla Batoyi. It follows the establishment of an inquiry into his fitness to hold office. The inquiry was prompted by allegations made by Batoyi that Chauke made politically motivated prosecutorial decisions. In a letter, Ramaphosa says based on the report of the panel, which was led by retired Justice Besen Kabinde, there is no basis to conclude that Chauke is not fit to hold office. Khomotso Modise reports.
The Nkabinde inquiry has quashed all the allegations brought by former NPA head Advocate Shamla Batoyi against Johannesburg prosecution's boss Andrew Chauke. Among his charges was the decision to prosecute former KZN Hawks boss Johan Boysen and his Cato Manor unit. But the Nkabinde inquiry has found that there is no credible evidence to conclude that Chauke took such a prosecutorial decision. Chauke was also charged for his handling of the prosecution of former crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli, but the panel has agreed with the decision made by Chauke to provisionally withdraw the charges, a finding that was also made by the Supreme Court. The finding, which clears Chauke of wrongdoing, means he can now resume his duties after a year-long suspension. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
The National Lotteries Commission is again embroiled in controversy after the special tribunal found the awarding of a 4 million rand grant to a non-profit organisation was unlawful. The Mshandukani Foundation was awarded the grant in 2019 for a project aimed at providing clean water to communities in the Eastern Cape. But investigations by the Special Investigating Unit have found that the funding was for a project that had already been done years prior. SIU spokesperson Selby Mahoto says the foundation has been ordered to pay back the money.
The order follows an SIU investigation which uncovered serious irregularities in the award and use of the grant, revealing that the funding application was based on a project that had already been completed several years earlier, and that the grants fund were diverted to entities linked to the foundation's leadership.
The defense has accused a state witness in the attempted murder trial of alleged crime boss Vusimuzi Matlala and his 4 co-accused of inconsistencies in his statements. Mzamocele continued his testimony in the Johannesburg High Court today. Cele told the court he provided police with 3 separate statements following the 2022 attempted murder of taxi boss Joe Sibanyoni. He testified that his first statement was taken in the early hours of the morning after that shooting took place. Cele then told the court he provided a second statement after the investigating officer requested further clarity. Defense counsel Advocate Nardis Grove accused him of discrepancies in his version of events.
If it's an objection against the line of questioning to the witness that he contradicted himself and changed his version in the 3 different statements, then I respectfully submit that the relevance appears from the questions and the answers. That's what I'm dealing with. Lord, with respect, I will show very shortly the reason why I'm dealing with it and what I'm putting to the witness.
Political parties represented on Parliament's impeachment committee have argued over whether President Cyril Ramaphosa should be compelled to give oral evidence to the Section 89 inquiry. While the MK party is one of the view of that the inquiry should start with his testimony, the ANC wants the committee to first consider the reports of other institutions which have probed the Phala matter. Debating the terms of reference for the inquiry at a meeting today, the Patriotic Alliance came to Ramaphosa's defence, saying he should not be compelled to appear. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
The MK party's John Hlophe says President Cyril Ramaphosa should be setting the stage for his impeachment inquiry by giving testimony first. Failing to deliver evidence, Lopez said, would invoke the rule of law to draw adverse inferences from the omissions.
The information is peculiarly within the knowledge of the president, so he doesn't have a choice with respect.
The Patriotic Alliance's Marlon Daniels, however, thought otherwise.
The president cannot be compelled to testify. His participation is a right to be heard, not a duty to give evidence.
The EFF's Ompile Motwe said the committee was wasting time debating a matter that had already been transversed in court related to the impeachment inquiry of former Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane that testimony could not be given by proxy. Parties have agreed to lobby each other on the points of dispute within the draft terms of reference before a meeting next week. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And the French government has unveiled a bill that would impose tougher penalties on those who spread disinformation in the run-up to and during the elections. Currently, the online dissemination of false information is punishable by 1 year in prison and a fine of €15,000. The country is set to hold elections on the 27th of September to replace President Emmanuel Macron. The bill is also expected to extend to all elections an emergency measure allowing a judge to swiftly halt the online dissemination of the false information. Gold is trading at $4,147.18 an ounce. The rand is at 16.42 to the dollar, 21.97 to the pound, 18.74 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $94.36 a barrel.
Centurion expect more than a 30-minute delay N1 South. This is between Old Pretoria Road and Samrand due to an earlier accident in Bursley. Kempton Park, traffic sluggish on Modderfontein Road between Pretoria Road and Mooi Rivier. Still in Bursley, there's slow-moving traffic as well on Pretoria Road approaching Flay Street.
In your sport, SAFA deny handing Bafana coach Hugo Bruce a contract extension. Patrice Motsepe will not seek a third term as CAF president. And Jeff Bezos exploring a minority stake ownership of Liverpool.
A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 8 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 9 and 23, and Vereeniging 4 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN, President Cyril Ramaphosa has cleared Johannesburg prosecution's boss Andrew Chauke of all the allegations that were levelled against him.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
We're calling on Joburg to walk the inner city with us. In 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 11 minutes past 5. Coming up on the show, you've been hearing throughout the day of the performance at the Madlanga Commission by the head of the Independent Directorate Against Corruption. Talking about Advocate Andrea Johnson. Lots of pressure put on her, I think it's fair to say, by the evidence leader on the one hand, the 3 Madlanga Commission commissioners as well, with some very focused and very persistent questions around her interpretation of the law and in some instances suggesting that she has misused her powers. So the head of IDAC under pressure. But what exactly is IDAC? And why is it so important, whether it's doing its work as well as it should at the moment or not, as an institution? It was set up to play a very particular and potentially significant role. We'll look at all those questions and as well at the extent to which IDAC's role might have been undermined by the pressure its head is facing at the Madlanga Commission. By the way, other members of IDAC have also given evidence and they've been subjected as well to some fairly probing questions as well. So we'll put all those questions to Head of Investigations at News 24. Peter Dutoy is my guest coming up in 3 or 4 minutes' time. We'll bring you the very latest from the markets. News coming out of the Middle East is not good at all. And that's pushing the oil price up to some real highs, well above $95 a barrel of Brent crude at the moment. The only really good news coming out of the markets at the moment, good prices strong bounce in the price of both gold and platinum. We'll find out where the sweet spot is, what the overall balance is on a day when I think the JSE was up, but not dramatically. So Stephen Cruz is updating us on that. Traffic, well, you always need to know what's happening on the roads. Karabo Chali will sort you out with that. I asked you how you're dealing with what I call the sports lull, although Tolakele Mganga was quick to point out WAFCON begins on Monday. Thank you for reminding me of that. But the World Cup is over, and a lot of people have spent a lot of time watching football. Springboks don't play for a while. There's no more tennis. Well, there is tennis, no more Grand Slam tennis until the US Open begins at the end of August. So how are you filling in the gaps, if indeed you experience them as gaps? Tolakele was saying, well, what she's doing now is actually spending some time with friends. Tato's doing it differently and says, it's the third week of the Tour de France, and my hubby and I are loving it. Can't say I've watched a minute of the Tour de France for probably, I can actually figure this out, 40 years. Literally, I'm being serious. It's 14 minutes past 5 o'clock. Let's hear what sports suggestions some of our other listeners have.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, so I am a huge cricket fan. So currently the English 100 cricket T20 competition is on. So after returning from work, that's what I will watch for, not the full games because they start after 8, finish quite late, but at least I've got something to watch while there's literally not much sports on. So yeah, I think that will keep me going for a few weeks and hopefully into the new Premier League season starting. Thanks, John. The Sisi Party.
Hi, John. Now that the Soccer World Cup is over, we can now focus on things of national importance. The rugby.
Yeah, well, I think we've been focusing on rugby, and I agree it is of national importance, but August 8, it's quite a long time till the Springboks play again. Of course, you could say that it's, we've just got off 3 games in a row. Somehow, I kind of felt we won those a little bit too easily. By the way, for Mpati, real cricket begins on the 9th of October, South Africa versus Australia, a 3-test series. That is going to be fantastic. Unfortunately, I don't think any of the games, the 5-day games, are going to be in Gauteng. I'll actually check up on those exact venues. Let me just see if I can find that. Now, yeah, Kingsmead. Then we have ODI. No, I've got those wrong. I'll get you the test schedule. Here we go. The first test, Kingsmead, then Gqeberha, and then Newlands. So Joburg loses out for a change, although we have the English here in December. 16 minutes past 5.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Right, now we always finish off the show with a song. As you know, we pick a theme, and today I'm not exactly sure why or for what reason we're doing this, but the theme today is songs that have an item of clothing in the title. So I immediately took the gap on Kabazela's suggestion and threw in one of my favorite songs that actually fits that bill. Take a listen. Prince with Raspberry Beret. I could say Raspberry Beret, but it would sound ridiculous given the way he says raspberry. So Raspberry Beret it is. Your song suggestions, please, on 072 702 1702. 17 minutes past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Charlie has the latest for you.
Thanks, John. While we start in the city of Tshwane Centurion, where there's that accident scene causing about a 30-minute delay on the N1 southbound between Old Joburg Road and Samrand. I understand there's also an accident scene if you're driving through Rivonia and Bryanston. Tabiso send us a voice note. Let's take a listen.
N1 South, N1 Western Bypass, southbound. between Batlu Interchange and Winnie Mandela.
Yeah, there's an
There's
accident.
a parking lot. Tsepang.
Well, thanks, Sepang. Yeah, there's an accident scene there as you approach Winnie Mandela Drive. If you are heading towards Midrand, also expect some delays. N1 northbound from the Between Change to Samrand in Bursley, Kempton Park. Traffic a bit sluggish on Modderfontein Road between Pretoria Road and Mooi Rivier in Bursley. Still, also slow-moving traffic on Pretoria Road approaching Flay Street. While in four ways, expect some delays. This is on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen and Broad Acres. And finally, Sunning Hill roadwork still causing about a 20-minute delay approaching the intersection of Witkoppen and Rivonia Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This winter, the price to refill your gas heater may have gone up along with everything else, but switch to Outsurance and you could actually drop your car insurance premium. You could save big, like 58-year-old Loretta, who saves a whopping 479 Rand a month on her 2017 BMW 320. Don't pay more than you need to. Get a quote to switch and save with Outsurance today. SMS OUT to 45142. That's OUT to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings.
8 to midnight.
The Burundian pastor stabbed his love interest more than 40 times. You got to understand what that means, man. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's just 10. Imagine that being the entry of a blade into the continuity of the epidermal lining of another human being. Apparently, the pastor was angry that the young woman's brother was sympathetic to March and March and the anti-illegal immigration movement.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Joburg, it's time to show up for our city on Sunday, 26 July. Join thousands of Joburgers and others for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, proudly partnered by Standard Bank. Walk through the heart of Johannesburg, celebrate its rich history and experience the exciting growth taking place in the CBD. As a committed partner invested in the future of our city, Standard Bank invites you to be a part of a movement helping to build a stronger, safer and more vibrant Jozi for generations to come. Register today and take part in the walk that brings Johannesburg together. The 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, proudly partnered by Standard Bank.
Oh, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
Andalex, a proud sponsor of The Masked Singer Season 3.
Mavis, I wonder if I should sell my car. I'm not sure where to go.
Wanna sell your car, but don't know what to do. You don't have to go far, we come to you. If you're rolling on a 1.5 or a Lacquer 2.2, doesn't matter what you drive, we buy cars once you.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Mama Million here, and yes, I am a millionaire. The total number of lotto winners to date is 1,886,946. And the total prize money won is over 149 million rand. So what must you do with this information? Inspire yourself and play the lotto. It's still just 5 rand. Catch the live draws on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9 p.m. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
Taking part in the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this Sunday, bring Joe with you. J-O. Joe is your free AI Johannesburg companion, helping you navigate the route while uncovering hidden Jozi gems along the way. You could even win a great prize, a Jozi weekend experience around Main Street Sundays on the 9th of August. Use the signs along the routes to unlock fascinating facts about the city's history. Download Joe now by going to Johannesburg in your pocket gpt.com. That's JHB in your pocket gpt.com. Walk the talk with Joe and Josie my Josie and discover your city one story at a time.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, just as I mentioned earlier in regard to the PIC, the Madlanga Commission is also focusing on an institution that I think it's fair to say many of us don't actually know exactly what it is that they do. I'm talking here about the Independent Directorate Against Corruption. In the spotlight with the Madlanga Commission last week when one of its key people, Brian Padiachi, was being questioned. Much higher stakes, I think it's fair to say, as the head of the organization better known as IDAC. Advocate Andrea Johnson was facing her second day of questioning from the evidence leader and from the three commissioners. Let's talk more about IDAC and better understand what exactly it is that IDAC does. Peter du Toit is assistant editor at News 24 and joins us now. Peter, welcome and thanks very much for giving us your time. What part is IDAC meant to play in trying to keep South African police service on the straight and narrow, and we all know how difficult that is? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. IDAC was established in 2022 under the aegis rather of the then National Director of Public Prosecution, Shamila Batoy. It was actually established as it is part of the National Prosecuting Authority. Its mandate, after it became a permanent body in 2024, is to investigate high-profile corruption. It is a body which is prosecutor-led, which is, in broad strokes, based on the defunct Directorate of Special Operations, or the Scorpions, that was dismantled in 2008. And that means that investigations are prosecutor-led. A prosecutor initiates an investigation and is assisted by an investigator or a forensic investigator. It's the so-called Troika approach, which means that the National Prosecuting Authority, when it investigates a matter or a case and when it decides to go to court, doesn't have to rely on an investigation by the police or the Hawks, because the investigators are housed in the same unit as the prosecutor, exactly the way in which the old Scorpions work. There are a couple of differences, of course, in structure and in the legislation which guides IDAC as opposed to how it worked with the Scorpions. But in broad strokes, the purpose of IDAC is to investigate and prosecute high-level instances of corruption, but also significantly to carry forward the work that was left uncompleted by the Zondo Commission when it completed its work.
So an absolutely crucial institution, I think it's fair to say, but under some real pressure. I'm sure you watched at least some of Advocate Andrea Johnson today, and what struck me was, in addition to some of the specifics that she was asked to justify, there seemed to be questions raised about whether, in fact, some of what, Advocate Sisi Baloyi, for example, characterized as a misuse of power may well have happened before. I'm wondering if you feel that IDAC's credibility is being undermined in this process, and B, if it is, what the consequences of that might be. My sense is it's more than an individual in the dock there.
John, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's much more than an individual in the dock. It's, of course, easy to attack an individual, in this case, the head of the institution. Look, there's been significant pushback ever since IDAC was established against the work of IDAC, much like there was in 2006, 7, 8, when there was pushback against the work of the Scorpions. You'd recall in 2006, 7, 8, the environment and the political atmosphere was created to such a, it was created and almost manipulated to ensure that the Scorpions would not survive. And what I'm thinking, I was there as a reporter when the Scorpions was dismantled. I'm starting to see the exact same environment being created to perhaps not only curtail the powers of IDAC, not only bring it to heel, as it were, but to perhaps again move through a process where we might see amendment bills being brought forward to get rid of IDAC altogether. And I think that's the danger that we are facing now. Yes, the credibility of IDAC is under severe stress and attack in the form of Advocate Andrea Johnson. If you look at the tide of public opinion, it is most certainly overwhelmingly against her, based on a range of accusations against her, based on a range of allegations made about her. And this happens in an environment where IDAC still, John, does not have full access to the Zondo database, which was supposed to be entrusted to them, which was an instruction by the then Chief Justice. So they've been unable to get unfettered access to the database. They have been unable to do or finish the work of the Zondo Commission. And in an environment where South Africa has come out of state capture, where we still have to prosecute many of the big state capture cases, it certainly is not ideal that our best shot at fighting it back against crime and corruption is now in the dock at the Madlanga Commission.
Thank you so much, Peter Du Toit, Assistant Editor at News 24. 29 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, over to you for a wrap and a look ahead to your money show from 6 to 8.
John, thank you. Good afternoon. Well, consumer shares taking a bit of a pounding of higher inflation figures, showing that you are, in fact, poorer. You're not just feeling it. So inflation coming in at 5%, higher than expectations from the period from June last year to June this year. That means we're going to get a Reserve Bank increase, I'm sure, of 25 basis points tomorrow. There might even, I don't know, be some discussion about a slightly higher increase, but I think probably 25 basis points is the most likely figure. It's all about oil prices. Food price inflation still relatively contained, but John, that's not going to last because of the role that diesel, particularly, which is up 50%, plays in the agricultural food chain. The JSE Ore Share up nearly 2/3%, 109,683 points. Financials down a quarter, industrials down 1%, but in resources up 4%, stronger gold and platinum prices. Unfortunately, Brent crude also higher today. That means that Harmony's up nearly 5.7%, Anglo Gold up 5.5%, Gold Fields, DRD Gold, all of them up very strongly. Valterra up strongly too. It really is the miners. I must just say, South 32 having a tremendous week. They're up 4.54%. And then Aspen, which was down 7% yesterday, making 4% of that back today. I think people just processing some of what they've seen. Pepkor announcing it's merging its flash payment business with Shop to Shop, paying 1.6 billion rand, putting in the 10 billion rands worth of flash into a new fintech company with Shop to Shop. We'll talk more about it on the Money Show, but if you look at Pepkor, you look at the size of it, you look at its physical presence, it's starting a bank, it really is becoming a behemoth and suggests they're moving in a very interesting sort of financial direction. Naspers down 4%. WeChat in China's have a really tough time. Shares there have been down quite significantly. And then the consumer shares, John. So Pick n Pay's down 4%, the Foschini Group 3.84%, Italtal, Clicks, Mr. Price are all down by over 3%, some down by 3.5%, and then 91 down by over 3% as well on the day. In the US, we're expecting quite a few earnings from tech companies. There's a little bit of tentativeness. The Dow Jones is up 0.16%, but the Nasdaq is down 0.17%, and the S&P 500 is up 0.03% on the day. The gold price at the moment has been quite a lot higher, and obviously that's really helped shares on the JSE today. It's also, I think, concerns about inflation and interest rates and just generally high oil prices and the impact that that's going to have. So the gold price $4,154.40 an ounce. Platinum at the moment $1,648.90. Brent crude, though, is $97.27 a barrel, and that really is the problem that we have at the moment. Is all of those higher is really just higher oil prices. And then the rand to the dollar 16.41, to the euro 18.73, to the British pound 21.95. On the Money Show, more on the Pepkor story, more on inflation as well. We will also talk to Jabulani Sikakani. You were talking to Kaiser Tole about the PIC. Jabulani making the point this is all politics, and I think he must be correct.
Yes.
We'll talk about ESP. It's an app that had a different name. Instead of just looking at electricity and Eskom, they're now looking at that holy trinity variety of things that we need. So electricity, water, and Wi-Fi. And where are the problems? And then your shapeshifter this evening, we're speaking to someone who knows all there is to know about AI, Dr. Mark Nasilis, the Chief Data and Analytics Officer at First National Bank. I have a sneaking suspicion he's pretty good at mathematics, and that might be his first love. I'll ask him on the Shapeshifters segment. Stephen Critters, EWN Business.
Thanks, Stephen. 27 minutes now to 6 o'clock. Mbali Dlamini here to advise us on what's changed and what's happening out in the world. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. Well, the governance crisis at the Public Investment Corporation has deepened, with 4 more non-executive directors reportedly resigning. It comes ahead of a crucial meeting called by the Finance Minister. The Minister has reportedly scheduled a meeting for 27 July to consider dissolving the board of Africa's largest asset manager following weeks of turmoil. The largest resignations come just days after 2 other board members stepped down, bringing the total number of departures to 6 in just over a week. Annelita Fandese reports.
The PIC has been under intense scrutiny since Chief Executive Patrick Dlamini and Chief Investment Officer August van Heerden were suspended following allegations contained in a whistleblower report. The Finance Minister's proposed shareholders meeting follows weeks of turmoil at the state-owned asset manager, which oversees more than 3 trillion rand in assets on behalf of the Government Employees Pension Fund and other public sector clients. The 6 departures leave just 5 of the 11-member board standing. The resignations also come as the Financial Sector Conduct Authority has also launched an investigation into the organization's governance. The PIC is 100% state-owned, and Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana acts as the government's shareholder representative. Annelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
The National Consumer Commission announced yet another recall today, this time affecting some Nissan, Toyota and Lexus vehicles. The Commission says the affected cars were sold through authorized Nissan and Toyota dealerships across the country. Owners are now being urged to take their vehicles to the nearest dealership for free inspection and repair. Camry Clark has the details.
Nissan is recalling 314 Qashqai SUVs sold between May 2021 and September 2024 due to a fuel pipe defect that could cause leaks. Toyota and Lexus are also recalling certain Land Cruiser 300s and LX 600 models after manufacturing debris was found in some V35A engines, which could trigger bearing failure, engine problems or stalling. National Consumer Commission spokesperson Peto Ndaba.
Do ensure that you submit your vehicle to any authorized dealership at Toyota to have your vehicle inspected, and if it forms part of the recall, they're going to replace an engine at no cost to you as a consumer.
Ndaba says the latest recall of Nissan Qashqai units forms part of a wider recall campaign launched by the automaker in October last year. Camry Clark, Eyewitness News.
And in France, the country recorded more than 5,700 deaths in the June heat wave. Last month, France experienced a record-breaking heat wave which lasted around 11 days and saw temperatures climb above 40 degrees Celsius in many places. AFP is reporting that the extra deaths between June 17th and the 2nd of this month were all due to causes not yet clearly linked to the heat. The average temperatures on June 24th and 25th were the highest ever recorded in the country. A fine Thursday in store for Gauteng tomorrow. Lows of between 4 and 9 degrees and highs of between 20 and 23.
Centurion, there's about a 30-minute delay still on the N1 southbound from Old Joburg Road all the way to Samrand due to an earlier accident in Woodmead. We've received reports of slow-moving traffic on Woodmead Drive between the M1 and Maxwell Drive. And finally, in Bursley, slow-moving traffic on Pretoria Road approaching Flay Street.
The top story in EWN, the governance crisis at the Public Investment Corporation has deepened, with 4 more non-executive directors reportedly resigning.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
What else have been contributing factors one way or another?
I think we could look on the other side and actually look at food inflation, which was down to 1.6%, historically low levels of inflation for food. In particular, we see cereal products, which is your maize, bread, etc., at negative 1.5%. And meat inflation, which is also a large contributor to the overall inflation picture, went to 5.1%, which is still above average food, but has dropped significantly from the 13.5% 3.5% than we had in January this year.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis presents the School of AI, the first of its kind in Africa, powered by 100 world-class AI experts delivering cutting-edge training, consulting and real-world AI solutions. Regenesis has embedded compulsory AI modules across all their programs and 12 of their schools, from business and law to education and technology. Join the movement now. Enroll at regenesis.net. Regenesis, one institution leading the way.
Elevate your flying experience with Lift Premium. Enjoy even more space, comfort, and convenience with priority boarding, extra baggage allowance, and complimentary lounge access. Visit lift.co.za today.
This Nando's ad is not an ad. It's a Wednesday reminder. On a Wednesday. With a beautiful professional voice and music made specifically for you. Specifically to tell you that today you can get the Wednesday double drop deal from Nando's. That's 2 full portion livers and 2 Nando's rolls for only $1.45. Wow. Now that's something worth being reminded about.
Thank you.
Like an alarm clock, but for your stomach. Nando's. Oh, what a place. T's and C's apply.
This Sunday, Joburg will come together for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. But before you walk with the people, for the people, you will need to collect your walk number from the Ellis Park Arena, 29 Bertrams Road in New Doornfontein. Collections take place every day from Thursday until Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please bring your ID document, driver's license or passport, and a copy of this confirmation to make your registration as seamless as possible. If you cannot collect your walk pack in person, a friend or colleague can collect on your behalf. They will need to bring along a copy of your ID, driver's license or passport, plus the walk number confirmation. Please note, no collections will be permitted on race day. 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk by Bize Bonke, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. More on primemediaplus.com.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, John. I agree with Peter Dutoy to a certain extent. He is correct. IDEC has had some challenges in getting some information to help them move forward. And it is true that has encumbered them a bit in terms of moving forward with particularly the state capture cases from the Zondo Commission. But given that actually should be what they should be pushing for. You have bigger things to concentrate on. You have bigger cases to worry about. Why then waste time and resources on menial stuff? They went on galloping ahead and wasting resources on a case that they should not even have looked at to start with. That's the reason why their reputation is at stake. And sadly, they're going to now be painted with that instead of everything else that is good that they could have done. Thank you. Spoken from Midrand.
Yeah, interesting reaction to our conversation with Peter Dutoy, assistant editor at News 24. If you missed that, and you might have also missed our conversation with our EWN colleague, Tabiso Goba, who was keeping an eye on what happened at the Madlanga Commission. You can pick both of those up on our website, primemediaplus.com. It's 18 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Tola Kelly, good afternoon to you again.
Afternoon, John. And SAFA have denied reports that coach Hugo Bruch has been offered or issued with a 1-year contract extension to remain as Bafana mentor, as they labelled those claims false, unfounded and misleading. SAFA say Bruch remains under contract until the end of July, while governance processes regarding the technical team have not yet been concluded. He's expected back in the country this week as he attends the funeral service of the late midfielder Jaden Adams on Saturday. Meanwhile, Patrice Motsepe will not pursue a third term as CAF president. That's when his current mandate expires in 2029. Motsepe assumed the presidency back in 2021, having succeeded Ahmad Ahmad, and was later granted a second mandate to continue leading the organization. Since taking charge, he's overseen increases in prize money for CAF competitions, while also pushing investment in youth football, coaching programs, and infrastructure development.
I will have gone long by then because I was supposed to be president only for one term. And when they said to me that if you leave all the money we promised for CAF, we will leave with you, I thought, we've made too many sacrifices not to allow the good work that we've done to be implemented. And part of my job also to make sure that there are good leaders. And there are good leaders who will not only take over from me, but also continue the good work that we've started.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos has been approached by Amit Bhatia to join a consortium that's interested in buying a minority stake in Liverpool. Bhatia expressed interest in buying into the Merseyside club on the same day that he stepped down from the board at QPR. On the pitch, the Reds are continuing their pre-season preparations in the United States, and new manager Andoni Iraola has expressed joy at midfielder Dominic Szoboszlai signing a new 5-year deal.
I think this is one of the probably greatest news since I arrived. His commitment to this club, his contract renewal, also he has come in a great shape. He has been leading by example in trainings, he's pushing a lot. I think young players should be looking at him, the way he's training, he competes, and definitely has to be one of our leaders. Looking forward, and I'm looking forward to have him in my team.
International team captain Jeff Ogilvie has announced that 2008 Masters champion Trevor Immelman will return as one of his assistants. That's for this year's President's Cup against the United States. Immelman previously served as captain's assistant back in 2019 and 2024, and joins Camilo Villegas as Ogilvie's leadership roster. And in cycling, Jasper Philipsen won stage 17 of the Tour de France as he clinched his first victory of this year's race. Leader Mats Pedersen finished in 8th place, which means that Philipsen closes the gap down to 7 points in the green jersey battle. Tholakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 16 minutes to 6, let's update you on what's happening on the roads. Karabo.
Well, we still have that issue in Centurion where there's about a 30-minute delay. N1 South up between Old Joburg Road and Sambrand due to an earlier accident. Woodmead, traffic sluggish on Woodmead Drive between the M1 and Maxwell Drive. In Midrand, expect some delays. N1 northbound between the Bacloons Change and Samrand. While in Bedfordview, there was that accident seen on the N3 southbound near the Giluli's interchange cleared, but traffic is still sluggish all the way from the Bacloons Change. In Sunninghill, roadworks still causing about a 20-minute delay approaching the intersection of Witkoppen and Rivonia Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
What do we understand about the link, though, to Firoz Khan and the suspected shooter?
So this is something that came up very early in my investigation. That, there is no direct evidence, and I must be very, very clear on this. There is no direct evidence linking Firoz Khan to the commission of the murders of Twitter and Thomas Murray. So what my hypothesis has always been that I've been working on is that the reason why the case is languishing, the reason why we are seeing this delay in this investigation is because maybe someone senior in the police is pulling strings, and all roads led back to Major General Firoz Khan being the most influential person that is connected to almost every single one of the persons of interest.
Carl Cohen's an investigative journalist at News 24.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
This year's Walk the Talk is powered by more than footsteps. It's powered by Aquile Natural Spring Water and flavored drinks. Whether you choose still, sparkling, flavored or sports drinks, Aquile is here to keep you refreshed as you enjoy the journey with thousands of fellow walkers. Join the walk, refresh with Aquile and celebrate Jozi, my Jozi.
Mama Million here, and yes, I am a millionaire. The total number of lotto winners to date is 1,886,946. and the total prize money won is over 149 million rand. So what must you do with this information? Inspire yourself and play the lotto. It's still just 5 rand. Catch the live draws on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 9 p.m. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
Cutting costs means more money for your business. Switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Here's Marshall from Bow Electrical.
I was with my other insurance for many years and then I switched to OUTsurance Business Insurance. It was a one quick call. They give me a great cover and a great price. Give them a call. You have nothing to lose. I wish I have switched sooner.
Get a quote to switch and save today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 0800 60,000. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Okay, let's have some fun with some music. We asked you to send us your songs that had items of clothing in the title. Some good ones coming in. Let's hear the first.
702. WhatsApp John
On 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. One of my favorite songs, and I apologize because I forgot the band who sings it, but one of my favorite songs that has a title that involves a clothing item is Baby Makes Her Blue Jeans Talk.
Nighttime in the city, baby feels a beat. Sleek and sexy angel of the street. She's a queen of all the night birds. Watch her when she walks. She don't say nothing, but baby makes her blue jeans talk.
Yeah, that's the sound of Dr. Hook. Baby Makes Her Blue Jeans Talk. More of your suggestions for songs with clothing in the title coming up in a moment.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
I want to take you back to 2018. I interviewed Dr. Randall Carolison. Then, as now, there were severe and systematic delays in funding disbursements. We are now on the third successor since he was at the helm of NSFAS. Little has changed.
I think some of the underlying issues exist. We have an opportunity in the parliamentary legislative review process. The NSFAS Act is up for review. There will be a public participation process. So you can try and fund as many students as you want to fund. But if the students that you are funding are not being empowered to succeed academically, and if they are not being given the information that they require upfront in order to make responsible choices for their own developmental needs, then the entire system is broken.
Deputy Higher Education Minister Yusuf Kasim.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Joburg is more than a city. It's a vibrant energy that connects us all. That's why on Sunday, 26 July, you, ABSA, and thousands of others are coming together to rediscover and celebrate the iconic inner city in the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk. Join the movement with ABSA and enter the 702 Jozi Majozi Walk the Talk before tickets run out. Secure your tickets at 702walkthetalk.co.za or primemediaplus.com. Jozi, ABSA sees you. Asambe. ABSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Terms and conditions apply.
What's for dinner tonight, South Africa? Hiya, Jamie Oliver here. Dinner stress? Forget it. I've teamed up with Checkers to bring you some of my favourite recipes the whole family will love. Easy peasy and delicious. Shop the ingredients on Checkers 6060 and boom, delivered in 60 minutes. Every week, 5 brand new dinner ideas. Checkers, dinner done better.
Get ready to watch demo prices get knocked down. It's the Demolition Sale at Motor Select. Hundreds of quality demo vehicles at smashed prices. Come find the demo deal you've been waiting for and save big on your next car. The demolition sale is now on. Motor Select. Trusted value, trusted vehicles. Visit motorselect.co.za to find yours. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John, Morna here. Coat of Many Colors, Dolly Parton version is good. She did it quite good, or did it very well. Was covered a few times, but that's a nice one.
And how my mama put the rags to use. There were rags of many colors, but every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat, and it was away down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, so in every piece with love she made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. As she sewed, she told a story from the Bible she had read.
Dolly Parton in 1971 telling an actual story about her childhood and her mom putting together literally a coat of many colors. Let's stay with just one color now. This from Sabina Christenberg, Lady in Red.
Never seen you looking so lovely as you did tonight. I've never seen you shine so bright. I've never seen so many men ask you if you wanted to dance. They're looking for a little romance, given half a chance. I have never seen that dress you're wearing, or the highlights in your hair that catch your eye. I have been blind.
Actually came out 40 years ago. I called it Lady in Red, but the actual title, if you want to be pedantic, and why would you, actually, in the face of music, but nevertheless, The Lady in Red, apparently a reference to his wife, Diane. 702 Drive, let's hear more of your voice notes, please.
John, the song that I'm thinking of is one that my kids used to sing in a school play. It's something to the effect that tell the people what she wore. She wore an insy bitsy tiny weeny yellow polka dot bikini that she wore for the first time today.
Yellow polka dot bikini that she wore for the first time today. And itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. So in the locker she wanted to stay.
2, 3, 4, stick around, we'll tell you more.
She was afraid to come out in the open, and so a blanket around her she wore.
Brian Hyland from 1960, as the song suggests, a song about clothes, but not a great deal of clothes in that instance.
Hey John, how are you? And the 702 team. What reminds me, I don't know if it's gonna apply, Elvis Presley, blue suede shoes. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Well, it's 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Well, you can do anything but take over my blue suede shoe. Well, you can knock me down, step in my face, slander my name all over the place. Well, do anything that you want to do, but honey, lay off them shoes and don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Well, you can do anything but take over my blue suede shoes. Let's go, cat. Oh, walk the dog. Well, you can burn my house, steal my car.
Well, I said Krista Berg was from 40 years ago. Elvis Presley, blue suede shoes, 1956. Do the math, as they say in Elvis Presley country. 70 years ago, man, that song has survived and some would say absolutely thrived. Blue suede shoes. Anyone ever go out and buy a pair of blue suede shoes as a result of hearing that song? I never did. I don't think I would look particularly good in blue suede shoes. I'm not sure where you would go to buy them. This one from Kabelo, a song with clothing item, is Rabaki by Spokes H. And what other ones have we got? We've got the Hollies. Yeah, let's hear this. I want to be pedantic and wild.
Hi, I'm to the John. Mawugqoka wenu yangihlanyisa. That is from Shoza Manihing Boxburg.
Okay, yeah. So other songs with clothing items in here. We actually started off with Raspberry Beret by Prince, which was a good place to start. A lot of you coming up with Blue Suede Shoes by Elvis. Chivas says, Cisco the Thong Song. It was a hot song back then. So that's another song that brings with us items of clothing. Coming to the end of the show here on 702 Drive. This one from Wayne, You Can Keep Your Hat On. Can't remember who sang that. If anyone can quickly remind me of who sang You Can Keep Your Hat On, that would be very helpful. Otherwise, I could do a quick bit of Googling and find out there. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us on 702 Drive.
Hey, Dada John and team. There's one song by Bob Marley and the Wailers, and it's titled Who the Kept Fit.
Man to man is so unjust. Children, you don't know who to trust. Your worst enemy could be your best friend. And your best friend, your worst enemy.
Okay, Bob Marley disappearing on us. I'm not terribly sure why, but thank you very much for your contributions. You Can Leave Your Hat On, by the way, is a song by Joe Cocker. What else? Chad suggests the Hollies' Long Black Dress. We'd love to play it, but we are pretty much out of time here on 702 Drive. Don't forget that Aubrey Masango is with you all the way through from 8 until 12 o'clock. Before that is The Money Show. Hope you're going to be joining us on Sunday at the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. I'm not going to go and get blue suede shoes, but I think I might need to just get a little running shoe upgrade in time for Sunday. Looking forward to seeing you then. From all of us, good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Corporates and Investment Banking, turning intent into execution. That's how Absa are invested in Africa's energy future. Good evening. On your Money Show tonight, fuel prices push inflation up past expectations, cementing the case for the Reserve Bank to pile on the bad news tomorrow. Pepkor merges Flash with Shop to Shop to create a massive new fintech player.